Go ahead.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. We're excited to be on this Wednesday Live. I'm extra excited because despite lots of adversity, I'm here anyway. Lots of things have happened. I'll tell you that in a bit, though. We've got Toolman Tim on. Toolman, say hello.
Hello. How are you?
Hey, for folks who don't remember who you are, tell us, who is Toolman Tim?
I'm that crazy fellow that lives in the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada. I run the workshop up here. Well, I call it the workshop. It's really an online community that's basically completely 100% stole the model from Nicole and Jack because it works. Yeah, I love to talk about tools, home preparedness. Preparedness is my term that I coined to talk about the art of home maintenance when help isn't around the corner, and I'm always there to give you a hand if you need it.
Awesome. John Willis, what's new at the factory?
Hell, what's not new? We got the swales in. I put in another 100 trees last night, put in 2 more peach trees. We've got chickens all over the place. We're about to bring in sheep. My camera guy and Tad will be here at 3 to film Panic Prepper episode 10, which got us banned for a week off YouTube.
Oh,
completely locked off YouTube. We have a Rumble account set up, so that's where we'll be posting those videos. And then we'll just put links to social media so that you can see them if you want to.
Yep. And, if my channel disappears after this live stream, we'll know why. That's why I didn't suggest we also stream on yours today, Toolman Tim, because just in case.
No worries.
Just in case. Okay, well, I have an exciting, the moment every prepper has been waiting for totally happened to me today. I got up this morning, my internet went completely out. And I was like, great. 2 is 1, 1 is none. My next door neighbor has Starlink. Text him, hey, can I just go to your place to do the live stream? He sends me his password. And it was almost as silly as the one you told me earlier today.
Of course it is.
But it was a good one. But it wasn't, it didn't have the word ass in it. And then right as I'm calling DTC to say, hey, my internet's out, the repair truck drives up. He said, no, I turned it off because there's a short somewhere between this pole and your house. And so we're going to come fix that. So fastest repair in internet problem history has just happened. It is possible. So kudos to my internet service provider. So then I'm like, great, we're good to go. Just as I'm sitting down, like 10 minutes before this show, power goes out.
Same pole.
Yeah, same pole. In fact, I haven't had time to call the power company to let them know it's out. And I was like, well, shit, what am I going to do? Well, we had the power out Saturday, so my generator is already out at this point. And because we had chicks that were in a brooder, so we had to turn it on in the middle of the night. So I go outside. I'm like, tactical, bring up the generator. I start running extension cables. I got an extension cable in my office. I got an extension cable to the internet router. And we bring the generator out, and I'm like, nope, let me start it because you started it last time. And what if you're not here and I have a power outage? So I got it all set up. First pull, the thing starts. And so now we are running this show on generated power. It's why I don't have my lighting on. But we'll see how long it lasts. Because at this point, whatever, if it's a regional outage and the switch also is without power, at some point their backup ends and our internet goes out too. So, but it was like the moment my preps actually worked for me.
So your cable guy took out your electricity and he's out there and you haven't called the power company. So nobody's come to see that he is stuck on the power line.
Yeah, that's probably what's up.
It might be late by now, unfortunately. Oh boy.
Anyway, so I've got, the generator Jack tells you not to buy, but it does start 1 pole every time.
Well, it's just loud, right? And that's been the conversation we've been having quite a bit. I had a generator conversation yesterday. I have all Honda generators. I've also got some Champion generators, right? They're super loud, but for the price of buying one Honda generator, you can buy 10 of these Champion generators, these little 2-stroke generators. Super loud, got to put oil with them and stuff, but how often are you going to use them,
I have a Honda.
I've got mine's a Furman, and I took my my decibel meter out to check it, and it was around 78 decibels, which is a little loud, but I've got a neighbor who runs a diesel to warm up in the morning, and his diesel next door to me, when I'm standing about that same distance away from my generator, really doesn't sound a whole hell of a lot different. Will it attract attention? Sure. But it's, at a reasonable distance, unless you're an absolute yahoo trying to climb fences, it blends in unless there's literally nothing else going.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's quieter than a lawnmower for sure, but I can
Mhm.
hear it through the wall right now.
Where you really hear them is when all the power's out, right?
Yeah.
At night. So if you're the dude running the gym, like our neighbor in Cedar Lakes had a big Generac, and you knew the power was out because you heard his generator almost before, like it came on. I mean, super fast. But even with the attenuated housing, it was loud. You knew it.
Yeah.
Last time the power went out here, I decided to take a run around town just to see who had power and who didn't. And turns out my local phone/internet company has power when the power goes out. So I was the only one able to use Wi-Fi in the town, or very few, So it was some of the fastest connection speeds I ever had. It was great.
Is there a reason you didn't go with Starlink yet, Nicole?
Well, there's a long wait for it. I didn't sign up right away, and my next door neighbor has it. In fact, I think we're bringing it to Self-Reliance Festival to see if it works at your place. If it does, then there will be some live streaming from the festival. We're not promising live streaming. We're playing with this festival so that we know better what we can promise for the October event. But I just, like, at the time, my DSL works great, and I didn't see a reason to go for it. And then he got it, and I was like, well, I'll just use his whenever I need it. Then when I went to sign up this year, it's like a 2-year wait right now.
Got it.
And I didn't feel like doing that just yet. So I may change my mind, but we'll see.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. I've got a quick thing I want to show here. I don't know if y'all have seen this, but I met Paul Wheaton at Exit and Build
I heard.
Land Summit. And I promised I would let folks know this week because he's only got 48 hours left on this. He's doing a Kickstarter to turn a whole bunch of footage he got all about rocket mass heaters. He did this huge event last year, rocket mass heaters for heating, rocket mass heaters for cooking, rocket mass heaters for just about anything you can think of. These are, zero money, efficiency in your house, cook stoves. They figured out how to tap into almost 100% of the energy you can get from wood and they've been playing with these technologies for years. They want to turn it into a feature-length movie. So he's doing a Kickstarter. The name of the Kickstarter is a movie about free earth-friendly heat. So that's how you find it. Or I'll throw this link actually in the comments too. But if you've thought about supporting him, this is a good time to do it. $1, $10, $20, however much you want to put in. It was really interesting meeting him because he comes off as larger than life, right? I don't know if you've ever seen him talk much, like super high energy. Yeah. He's like 3 times that in person.
Yeah.
So he's like huge and lots of energy. It was interesting. And he has lots of good ideas. So that's my plug for today.
Awesome.
Isn't it nice when you meet somebody and they're at least as much as your expectations? They're not some kind of caricature they play online.
Yeah. Yeah. As seen on TV, he's like literally that way all the time.
Awesome.
Which is intense. That's more intense than John Willis.
I believe it.
Okay, so Toolman Tim,
Yes,
I wanted to ask you something. You talk about taking your existing customers and finding new ways to provide services for them. Talk a little bit about how you do that and why a person might want to do that.
Well, first thing I would say is it's much cheaper in time and money to keep your existing customers than it ever is to go out and find new ones. Because if you've ever launched a business from scratch and you've gone out trying to find new customers, it's a slog. So number one, if you can market to your existing customers, it's easier, it's less work, and you already know that they're slightly interested or they have an interest in what you offer. So that's kind of where I start. I mean, I was always a sales guy wherever I worked. I was always, top 5 sales guy because I liked selling. But one thing I would never do is sell somebody something they didn't need because I couldn't sleep at night. But I did like to sell and I was good at it. But so for me, the biggest thing when you first start out was getting a customer base started. And of course, the earlier you're into it and the fewer customers you have, the more important upselling and cross-selling and, offering existing services to existing customers becomes. But for me, the very first one I did, and I was so proud of this when I thought of it, but we call them eaves troughs up here in Canada, gutters, I don't know where the hell eaves troughs ever came from, but the downspout and how where the water goes down and it flushes out through and how that tends to be a collection point where junk and debris always collects. So they make something that looks like a metal screen that looks like it goes over a light bulb. And I was buying them for like $2 a piece. And when I would show up, I'd have a bunch in my truck. And when I was cleaning somebody's gutters, I would say, hey, $10 a piece installed. I'm already up there. It literally takes me 15 seconds to throw it in there. And it could save you, it might, next year, you might only need your gutters cleaned once, or it might save you from an ice dam buildup. And it was an easy sell. You'd add an extra $40 or $50 on each gutter clean. Not every gutter cleaning, but that was just one simple way that I started just kind of building some additional revenue out of those existing customers.
Cool. So what would you give people advice on if they've got an existing customer base and they're not quite sure how to upsell them? Let's say they do something like mowing lawns. What would you tell them to do?
Well, I'll tell you a little more of my story. I guess first, I first started the very first thing I did was mowing lawns. And I thought, what can I do? Because I was charging by the time, and that becomes a pain because people won't call you back as often as it should be done. And so you end up having to hack through the grass way too thick. So I'm like, I'm going to offer a flat monthly rate for grass. So, in that way, if I need to come once because it's dry, I charge them the same amount. If I need to come 4 or 5 times, I charge them the same amount. That I was also doing that in snow, but I wasn't combining them. So I decided, okay, let's get snow customers and grass customers as one customer. So now 10 months of the year, 5 months in the winter, 5 months in the summer, they're paying a flat monthly rate for grass and snow. And a lot of people, if they're already paying that, say 135, 125 a month for their snow removal, they'll say, oh, well, I'm already paying it. I'm not missing it. So let's just let Tim do the grass so we can go drink beer, at the lake or whatever. And so that was a way to kind of take, if you're offering a seasonal service to a customer, say it's a winter service I know you guys don't know what that white stuff is down there too much, but if you're already offering a seasonal service of one time of the year, look and see what you can offer for the rest of the year. If you're going and doing their gutters, maybe they need their hedges trimmed. If you're doing their grass, but they have really nice walkways, maybe you buy yourself a little, $45 surface cleaner from Amazon, attach it to your pressure washer, and start doing driveways and sidewalks, or decks, or you do it all. You go in, you pressure wash the house, you do the sidewalks, you blow them off, you just keep looking at the existing services that you can do that don't cost you a lot more money, and then conversations with customers. That is the big one for me. Just chat with people, because all the time customers are, I didn't know you did that. So they'll ask me, what are you doing? And when someone asks you, what are you doing? The common phrase, oh, not much, or what, I tell them, I'm like, oh, I'm cleaning windows, I'm hauling garbage, I'm going here. And, maybe 1 out of 10 conversations. Well, I didn't know you did that. Can you come and do windows for me? Or, hey, my niece is moving out of a rental. Can you come and do a garbage haul away? And for me, a lot of times the customers will upsell themselves if you just let them talk, because eventually they'll tell you, this is what I need. If you're open to it, grab it and go.
Awesome. John, how do you upsell?
Gummy bears.
Gummy bears. Tell us about, everybody knows about gummy bears, but tell us anyway.
So branded merchandise, right? We do a shirt every week, 120 pieces. We sell out of them usually the same night that we drop them. If you have eyeballs, it's easy to sell things once you have eyeballs. And we have about 50,000 on our email list, and we whittle that down twice a year. We actually kill about half of our email list because there is an algorithm. So we actually cut our email list down to about 20,000 twice a year.
Wow.
And every time we do that, the revenue on a Friday night is between $5,000 and $10,000 higher when our email list is smaller, because it takes us out of any mass spammer and puts us directly in the inbox. So people want to see our stuff a lot, but a lot of people have free email services, Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail, right? So all the spammer stuff affects our algorithm. Now we have a text app. We only have about 2,500 on our text app right now. And to bribe people to get on our text app, we would send the email out or the text out an hour before the email would go out. And if stuff was selling so fast, we had to stop doing that because the email customers, there was nothing left when they would go on there to buy. So we give it only a 15-minute priority now. And then we send messages out through the week We just built a couple different products yesterday. They were available. We put them up. They sold out in minutes. So it builds urgency. And if you have an audience that's already buying things, we do gummy bears. We do coffee. Nicole roasts coffee for us. We take coffee. We put coffee up on the website. We bring in a coffee mug. We might do a shirt and do a bundle, so you can buy the bundle or you can just buy the coffee. You're not sure which of our coffees we like. We have both versions bundled up. That's branded merchandise. Those are things that I can sell with my name that we don't have to put human labor into. If you're not aware, on the other side of this wall is a sewing shop, and I've got a 24 sewing machine sitting out here, and we build that stuff. But because of that brand that I've built over the last 35 years, we can co-brand anything that I'm really interested in or anything I think the customer might like that kind of fits in with us. And that's all upsell.
Yeah. It is 100% true that existing customers already have trust. And so it's silly not to have additional options for customers. And I kind of wanted to bring that up today because a lot of people are just hyper focused on always getting new. But I put in 100 times the effort for that one new customer versus here's a new flavor of coffee. Or if you like my membership and you like the webinars, maybe you'd like to come to an event. If you like events and you like the coffee there, maybe you'd like to buy coffee, right? If you like the coffee, maybe that would make a good Christmas gift for your family, or Mother's Day or Father's Day, which is almost here. It's being able to add different things, I think, is super helpful. And a lot of people forget how important that existing customer base is. I think another thing I do is if there are shortages, which happened in 2020, my subscription customers for the coffee are the first people I will serve, and new customers, sorry. Mm-hmm. If I feel like we need to just serve the customers we have, we're serving the customers we have.
Just like Butcher Box.
Yeah. Yep. And, luckily, so far it hasn't gotten that bad, but it's people who've been loyal to me over the years. I'm going to be loyal to them back. That's how that works. So
I like your subscription deal. We put out mystery boxes just kind of as a joke. We had, some seconds and stuff sitting around. We were talking, a couple of us just kind of joking around, and I made up a posting for it. And I said, hey, mystery box, we're going to send you, and it literally said, we're going to send you whatever the fuck we want whenever we get around to sending it. And we're only going to do a small amount of these. So we were on our way out of town to dinner, typed it up, left, didn't think anything of it. Got back that next morning, we were leaving town to go to Nashville, and Amanda's like, how many did you sell of those? And I go, not many. I locked it at 30. I didn't hit apply. We sold 300 of them at $100 a piece.
Oops.
30,000 in revenue in less than a 24-hour period. And now we got to fill it, right? So the mystery box, we put typically a shirt or a hat. There's a sticker in there. There's some product we made, and there's usually something else with another company that we co-branded. So they really like that. Every time we've dropped one, the last one we did was 550 people bought into it. We left it open, I think, for 72 hours. And then, that's the deal. Also, something else you can do is you can have kind of an elite buyers club or a next level, something a little more prestigious, another higher level stuff. And they have to pay to be a member of that group. And then when we drop product first in there, or special things in different color patterns that we only put in there. And I see a lot of my competitors doing that as well. Much, much larger companies, but you have to pay to get behind that wall to even be able to see it. I see somebody on here asking if main source of sales is email. It's now more text message. And I have to be careful even showing stuff because we put a text and email out Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And each one changes a little bit with what we built the day before. But I have to be careful even showing a live video because people will go and buy all that stuff if it's online before it ever even makes it. So we might have an email go out and I've already put a picture of it up on Instagram. Everything we had was gone. It's already gone. So, and then when we go to do an email, there's nothing to put in the email.
Yeah. And that would be bad. Hello, this is an email about nothing. That never goes anywhere.
But we have other co-branded merch. I mean, there's always something. Like right now, Memorial Day, we're running a promotion tonight. I probably shouldn't even be saying this yet. We're running a promotion tonight, and it's going to get you a free bag, handles. It's got some star patterned, American flag patterned stars on the inside. And usually when we run our promotion, it was $50, and we would give you free shipping, and we give you this free item. So whether they wanted to buy anything or not, they would go buy something to get the free item. And a lot of times they'll take the free item and then sell it on the secondary market and make back all the money they made buying the whole thing. And we don't do free shipping anymore with shipping so elevated. And I think our threshold is now $65. But we just did one for Friday. I think it was Friday the 13th. We just did one. It's a little tool bag light. And I think we sold 575 of those things. We're still... We actually just bought more embroidery machines, and we have 2 more machines now running just doing these.
Yeah. How many people does it take to run those? Is that something that's sort of a set it and forget it?
No, that's all Amanda.
Does she do 4 machines at once?
I think we're running 6 at once.
6 at once. So then the frustration there is if you have a gum up.
Yeah, but we're not running big commercial machines, right? So it's not one computer controlling all the heads.
Okay.
Actual standalone. It's kind of like prosumer, right? I think they're about $1,400 a machine.
Yeah. And man, it says all me.
But it's to the point where we have to outsource it, right? We have to take that file to an embroidery shop 30 minutes away and go, I need 500 of these.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Is it better that way now? I mean, I know you'd probably rather have it in-house if you could, John, but is it, just financially, does it make more sense and time-wise, or?
Yeah, it will, because it takes a lot of Amanda's time, and Amanda has very expensive time.
Yep.
But I mean, literally every employee we have in here is already doing a task. Like I hire people to come in and do shit, and before you know it, we've tasked them. They've moved out of that position.
Yeah, Amanda and the Amanda John team is really fun to watch because they're both very good at different things. And because they work together, it makes the whole thing there work. So, and it's very obvious when you come in, you see the difference in working styles. That's an important thing. I was sitting on a panel with Jack Spirko a week or so ago, and he said he hires to his weakness.
Yes.
He does not hire somebody like him because then that's stupid. He hires for the things he's just not best at. And I thought about that because a lot of people you get along with somebody because they're just like you, but 2 just like yous in one company is not necessarily a good thing.
I've discovered the joys of Fiverr lately a lot, and that has saved my ass. I know how it works, but I cannot believe if nobody's using Fiverr, like every little thing. Becky wanted an 8.5 by 11 promo sheet for the daycare. We sent it off there. We had it back 24 hours later, cost me $30. I can't even open my computer and be done for that kind of time. And the hair I have left would be gone. If you're not using that kind of stuff, it's great.
Yeah. Lots of tools available I think there's never been an easier time or a harder time simultaneously to start a business. Like we have so many tools we can use. You can make the wrong decision on them, and that can end up costing you a lot. But at the same time, if you're strategic about where you put your focus and those resources that you use, it's so much easier to get things started than it used to be. Like I remember 20 years ago, the process of getting a logo, and I had instant access to a graphic designer. It was hard and expensive and took forever. And now I just do a logo tournament, offer a reward, and see what comes up. And there'll be like 100 people working on whatever logo I'm interested in.
Yeah.
No, how can you explain that part of it? Because I just normally hire somebody on Fiverr. Maybe I'm missing out a little portion there. Or is that a different site you're using?
It depends on so if you have a pretty good idea of what you want your logo to be.
Yep.
And you like a designer, you just use a designer.
Okay.
But sometimes when I'm developing a new brand, I want to tap into different people's creativity. So I'll have clarity of what our purpose is, what our marketing position is, meaning what are the core fundamental principles behind the brand. and some idea of color scheme, those sorts of things. I'll put that all out and say, I'm looking for a logo that can be used, square or long, that's bold so that it's from far, it doesn't have a lot of little details that you can't identify it as your logo from far away. I'll have other parameters, and then I'll offer $400 or $800 as a reward. And you put it on logo tournaments, and there are other sites like that. And then the key is you give 2-3 weeks of a time period for these to come in, and people will start submitting designs. And usually the first designs aren't super thought out detail wise. They're just a shape of a logo. And then you give feedback on those, and those same designers will refine it for you, and they're all competing for that $800 reward.
Does each designer see the other designer's art?
Yeah, it's all up there.
Okay.
And you can prioritize them. If you do not have time to review the designs, though, don't do it. Because you're going to spend 3 weeks reviewing designs, and if you don't give people feedback, then they stop being interested. You don't get as good of a result. But I love doing those logo tournaments when I have something that I'm just not quite, I don't say like it needs to be my cowboy hat. For my podcast logo, I just went into my community and said, hey, what are the core themes you think should come out in the logo? And somebody, actually Jenny, drew it in pencil and put it up.
Yep.
And it was my podcast and a corncob microphone. And I said, perfect. And then I paid a design. I sent that to a designer, this pencil drawing, and said, make that into an actual logo. And then they chose the fonts and everything, and it was perfect.
We have different artists. Like we've got an artist that if you're doing vehicles of any kind, that's the dude. We've got another guy that's a cartoon guy. If I want something cartooned, and that dude is in Canada in a huge mining gravel pit, drives a big giant dump truck every day. When I hit him up through Instagram, he gets back to me in 30 seconds, almost always. And I give him a concept, and he throws me a rendered first artwork, usually in under 90 minutes. So, and then we've got other dudes. I haven't found any of these guys. I've got a few friends that have companies that use all these dudes, and I think most of them did come off Fiverr. I've got friends that are amazing artists, but I don't need like I don't want my stuff to look like graphic novel, right? If I want my stuff to look like this, I just throw the concept at my shirt guy and he handles this. But if I need something, taken from an actual photo to print ready artwork, we've got a few different dudes we use depending what that is. But the biggest thing is just that they act hungry. If I have to go to a dude to get artwork, because usually it's hit it, quit it, on to the next thing. It's very immediate. We have like the what was the iced tea? The guy hit the guy with the iced tea. What was that? Anyway, it happened, came out on social media. This kid's mouthing off. This other dude hits him with this can of the iced tea. So immediately we want to put that out, right? I have to do that, and we have to act and have it ready to go in 72 hours. So if I have to get with a guy and we can't get turnaround immediately, it's a non-starter. So most of the guys that we do stuff with, they're super fast. Twisted Tea, that's it.
Yes, that's okay.
Twisted Tea. Put that up in the comments.
I love the idea of outsourcing and white labeling things as well, especially if you can either support somebody locally or, for us, the coffee thing that we've been working on, that is totally a Canadian thing that'll be white labeled. I don't have to handle it. Turns out they'll also do things like tumblers and mugs. They print them in-house. They put them on their website. They take care of shipping for me. And something else that's really cool, things like steak spice, because I'm looking at a couple of different steak spices. I get the full case sent to them. They take care of everything else for me on their end. I don't even have
you found a drop shipper.
Yeah. And they're hungry for it because they pivoted out of COVID. I said that word, darn it. Anyway.
You said the C word.
Yeah, so they started an in-house graphic design system. They started basically they help with the website design, the whole works, and the pricing is really, really competitive, really good.
That's awesome. Okay, so end of the world as you know it. How's that going in Canada? Has it ended yet?
I'm too busy working to know if it ended yet. I'm so friggin' tired of, oh my God, the doom and gloom. Don't worry about it. Just build something great. Focus on your family. Build a community. I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, sometimes I get lost down that rabbit hole for a few minutes and I'm thinking, shit, this is bad. And maybe it is, but you can only do what you can do and just keep fucking building relationships and storing up stores and doing what you can. But I mean, yeah, are we talking about buying land in Tennessee? Absolutely, we are. All
Have you found any yet?
No, I want to talk to you about it, but
Okay.
that is when we have time. But yeah, no, we absolutely want. Becky left there. She said after she left LFTN, she's like, I've never met people like this. She said, number one, they don't judge, and number two, they're always talking about success and doing things. And women have a little harder time sometimes making friends. I don't want to sound sexist. Maybe that's just my experience with my wife, but she was blown away by how much she connected. And she's like, oh yeah, we got to head down that way. I'm like, okay, sounds good.
But that's not just Tennessee, right? That's because Nicole, that's
I know
group of people she's brought in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's everywhere. So is the world really ending, right? What if really what's happening is we're just killing the middle class? So there's only going to be low class and high class, right? There is no more middle class anymore. I guess you better decide which one of those you want to step to, right? And even if you're busy homesteading, and that's not to take away from somebody that stays on the homestead all the time, but if they are killing that middle class and you're the dude producing eggs and you're the dude producing chicken breast and you're the dude producing carrots, I would think, especially with the crazy food shit going on, that would be great for you. Like, you have the potential to make so much more. It's literally a mindset thing. I spent over a decade hiding, waiting for society to collapse and just not paying bills that I should pay because I'm diverting all the money, right? Yep. Until that thing became this huge monster. And I heard, Jack said, I remember I was standing right in my office that day, and he said, there's all these guys hiding in caves waiting for society to collapse, and they spent the last 20 years of their life not living. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm 35, I haven't done anything, and we decided, like, okay, I'm gonna go live, right? So we're gonna take some of them. We had huge money coming in, so we're able to do anything and act quickly. But I had 2 houses full of, and I mean, we still have all that shit, full of all the storage food and all the encased stuff, but we didn't use any of it. Like, we had, I bet you there's $1 million in that shit over the years and the time put into that. So, but we never utilized any of it, right? It was just in case.
Yeah, and just in case, it's not bad to have some just in case things. But at some point, if you're never going to use the just in case, it is just sitting there. And it in this climate, it's sitting there molding, degrading, because even as hard as we try to keep humidity out, humidity's a thing here. And like dry storage that's sealed, okay, that's fine. But I think of all the supplies, like even just a shovel, if you're not maintaining it, what's happening is the humidity's hitting it and mildew's going to start growing on that unless you have a way to keep that from degrading. And so I think it's important to think about just in case, but it's really important to think about what can I maintain and how can I make that, instead of a just in case, how can I make that into my buffer? How can I make that into an extended timeline of how long I can go without needing to replace a thing versus just always having something that stores for 30 years. I sit in all these freeze dryer groups and they're like, what can I freeze dry that'll last 20 years? And I'm thinking lots of things will last 20 years, but do you want it after 20 years?
If we're running the freeze dryer, we're running protein. We're actually adding a second freeze dryer. We are running protein. Mathematically, it does not work to run anything for us other than meat.
I was wondering that. I've looked at it. I mean, I don't know how many times I've thought about buying a freeze dryer, but I would assume that is where your biggest bang for your buck comes. Cause I mean, it's your highest investment and it's the stuff that costs the most on the secondary market too. Is it not?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go look at a thing of meat right now in a can, the cheapest protein to buy was TVP, textured vegetable protein, right?
Oh, yeah.
Boy. And I think it was like $36 a can. Your next cheapest was sausage crumbles at, I think they were $60 a can. And now I'm seeing small cans for $69 of chicken breast. And I mean, it's the same amount we're putting in bags right now. I see guys selling this. I don't know how many they're selling, but it seems like they're selling a lot of this stuff from the way their marketing looks. It's just the electricity of it. We can do all kinds of fun shit with it, but how many ice cream sandwiches do you need freeze dried? If we're really, why are we doing this, right? And you can take and make money with it. I mean, we freeze dry gummy bears, we freeze dry Jolly Ranchers, we freeze dry Skittles. I mean, we freeze dry enough trash, candy, that we're having to buy a second one of these machines so that we can run protein at the same time. But it's like your shovel thing, right? Yeah, I buy shovels 12 at a time when I find them. I go a lot of times they don't have them. I buy the big cobalt ones. How in the hell did we live 30 years with a shovel that didn't have, a place to put your foot?
Oh,
I used to, wreck. We would bust shoes and boots and stuff digging holes.
Wear them right through, right?
Yeah. So maybe the move for that, if you want to do that, is just to work a little bit more and have a climate controlled building, right? Or paint those blades first. The fastest thing that destroys a shovel is an employee leaving it out in the dirt. And it just the tip off, right? So maybe the move is just to hire a dude to maintain and have a maintenance program and start the trucks and start the generators and take care of the tools and just do those things, right? And maybe that same dude feeds chickens so that now we can take off on a weekend and go do some things and leave the property if we need to.
So here's a question. Would it make sense to freeze dry rabbits as dog food?
Why?
It is people food.
Well, I just say why, right? So what? Because I'm not freeze drying rabbits, and I do feed rabbits to dogs every day. I keep them in a chest freezer, right? When I have too many, the rabbit gets to a weight where the cost per protein conversion pound of rabbit, it ceases, right? So depending on your breed, you're going to figure out where that sweet spot is. I put my rabbits very young. You'll see people say, don't put rabbits on grass until they're 6 weeks. You'll see 8 weeks. We'll pull them at 4 or 5 weeks. Now, they still have pellets when we put them on grass, so the bloat's not an issue. When they get to a size, and we're making a lot of rabbits. I probably have 10 cages up there right now with moms with bunnies, and we've got them hopping out every day. So I've probably got 40 on grass right now in 2 tractors, 20 and 20. Those are about to I kill them real fast. And then we're just going to take them. I don't even gut them or anything. We're going to put them right in a chest freezer. We're going to freeze them up. And the only reason we're doing that is because I have so many more coming right now that need to get out so that they're eating grass instead of eating just pellet with mom. When they're in the cage, they're eating all those pellets. But I say that to say, why freeze dry it? Are you not, if it comes to the point where you're using freeze dried rabbits to feed your dogs, are you not also just producing rabbits to feed your dogs?
Okay, so this is for long-term storage as a business to ship. If you can sell rabbits as dog food, and if we're having a dog food shortage, that's maybe not a bad idea.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Are we calling it dog food to ship? Do you know what I mean? Like, could that? Yeah, I'm wondering if that might be what we're getting at
that
too.
may be a thing too.
Yeah, maybe.
Air quote, sorry. Yeah.
Dog food.
I wanted to throw back up right quick about the routine maintenance, hiring a guy. I just had a guy send me this morning an app called UPKEPT, UPKEPT. I haven't tested it yet, so I'm not endorsing it, but it's apparently something you can set in for doing all of your routine maintenances around your home. So it kind of helps you schedule things and keep on top of it. Sounds really cool. There it is. Yeah, Nicole put it in. I'm getting ready to test it out. I'll probably do a review on it, but it's by Consumer Reports. So they are what they are, but at least they're a recognizable brand. But I'm going to try it out. Let me see. I got it up here on the site. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I know.
$1 million question.
Yeah. UPKEPT. Yep. UPKEPT. UPKEPTHome.com.
UPKEPTHome.com. Yep. I see it. It's kind of like Roadie. Roadie, ROADIE. That's another. Oops, that didn't come through. That's an app where you can deliver. Like it's basically a delivery service, Uberized or Airbnb-ized, and you can make some good money on that if you just wait for something in a really rural area that needs to go somewhere else that nobody wants. They keep increasing the price until it's worth taking. And if you live in a rural area, that's actually kind of nice because you might be close and other people might be far.
I pay a lot of money to have things fast. Like, I mean, like the chamber vacuum sealer, I paid almost as well. I paid 50% of the cost of the thing to have it shipped here the next day. I mean, we do that all the time.
Check local shipping companies too. Like a lot of times if you're getting something going from one area to another, sometimes they'll be like, not third party, but in my area, you'll get certain companies that you can call. I've got one that does just an hour and a half route every single day. And their price is like a third of what the big guys is. But, you know, it's a little less convenient. But if you give them a call, just check in that town and just type in like shipping companies local to that town. And sometimes they're heading almost the full way for way less money. I do that quite often. Sometimes, like for instance, my son a few years ago rented a tuxedo for his graduation. It was cheaper for me to give it to him or to send it back with that shipping company than it was for me to drive the hour and go drop it off.
Yeah. I actually have a coffee order like that right now. I usually hand deliver this one in Cookeville, Tennessee, because I go there once a week, but I'm not going there this week. And I just realized, you know, the $8 in shipping is cheaper than my time to make a special trip for an hour round trip. Yeah. So
Freedom Media, speakeasy, right? Nicole and I have a friend that are actually in the process of doing that. There is also a private club in Nashville that I've been to. I believe there's 1,000 members, but there's only ever 20, 30 in there at any given time. And we were invited and we went to a club and talked to the doorman and said, hey, we're heading to this place. And he took us in and then took us into a broom closet that had a biometric reader on it. And then all of a sudden we're in a stairwell. We go upstairs and we're on 4th Avenue overlooking, you know, where all the bars are. And like Dee Schneider's a member there. There's all kinds of, it's all rock stars and shit. And we had our children with us and we're in this bar. And I said, how's this work? And she says, well, we're a private club. So we don't have a liquor license. We don't sell alcohol. We have memberships. And it's a beautiful, like period built, you know, leather on the walls. It was just awesome. It's exactly like you thought a speakeasy would have been.
Yep. Speaking of that friend, is it the friend I'm thinking of who is in another state? Yes. Okay, so another promotion. Neethi, everybody's seen Neethi on here. She does something called a food church, and that's how she uses a membership organization plus a religious exemption to allow people to have access to high quality food. In other words, they can buy meat from cows that they raise and process and a whole bunch of other things. She has put together a course on how to start your own food church. And she decided to tag team that on the Self-Reliance Festival in June. So on Friday the 10th, she will be doing a food church workshop at the same time the pork processing workshop is. And you can get tickets to that at selfreliancefestival.com. It's Friday the 10th from 10 in the morning till 2 p.m. Tickets are half price if you use LFT 50 off, which I've written on the website for everybody. They're half price until the 1st of June. So if you think you might want to go to her workshop, definitely use the coupon code, grab your tickets at selfreliancefestival.com.
And if you are a business person of any kind, whether you think you want to do food or food church, sitting in her seminar will put your mind in a little bit different direction, and you will find a way to utilize what she's teaching in your business, even if it applies in no way to your business. When you get other business people, it takes, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah. And I really think as we have a lot of increase in authoritarianism, like authoritarian controls, which is what's happening through zoning laws, through licensing laws, it's been happening for decades now. It's just accelerating right now. Creative ways around that help you exist in both worlds, right? In the underground economy and in the economy. And the food church is one way to do that. And when you see her thinking and how she's put it together, that does, as John said, that gets you thinking, oh, for my thing, this is a way I could be creative about that. Just like selling rabbits for dog food.
think about this, right? So I can process these rabbits here, and I can eat them. I can process these rabbits and give them to you in Ziploc bags, all chopped up in meat, ready to go on the barbecue grill. There's never a problem with it until you give me $15 for that rabbit and I hand it to you chopped up in meat. I can give you the live rabbit for $15. I can give you the dead rabbit for $15. But if I turn that rabbit into meat, some guys with guns want to come to and arrest you for it, right? So if you had a club or a membership or a church, then they're paying to belong to that. And as a benefit of that, they get free chopped up rabbit, right? So if the dude knocks on the door and like, hey, can we come in? No, you can't come in here. This is a private church. Well, we heard you're selling meat. I don't know what you're talking about. Did you buy some meat? Do you know anybody that bought some meat? There's no meat here. Can we come in? Oh, no. That door's locked. No,
you're not a member.
No,
you have a warrant? I don't see a warrant. Yeah.
In my home province, when they first brought in the GST, so we don't just pay provincial tax, which is like a state tax. They also have a federal goods and services tax. So when they brought it in, it applied to goods and services, but not things like vegetables, right? So a lot of the, what do they call it? Dry cleaning places at the time, you would go in, you would pay for your dry cleaning. They'd hand you a potato and you'd walk out and you didn't have to pay taxes because they were doing your dry cleaning for free and they were selling you a potato for the exact price of the dry cleaning. Yep. I loved it.
Yeah. One way that people have gotten around like food service regulations in the coffee world is they sell you the cup.
Yep.
And the coffee is free.
That's how we did. That's how we did alcohol. Like our beer, we'd have a beer tender, who's a certified, she's got her license and shit. But we would sell cups, and then you got a free fill and refill, right? So we'd check IDs and had bands and everything for it, but that's how we got around all that.
Yeah. How are alcohol laws in Canada? Are they as weird as here?
Yeah, number one, actually, they're maybe slightly more lax in certain. Well, anyway, I always call Alberta the Texas of Canada. I haven't been to Texas, but I mean the mindset. But anyway, 18 is the drinking age in Alberta. The rest of the country, other than one other province, is 19. So we're still kind of below the 21. Alberta has a very, very relaxed view on drinking in general, like community wise, that I would say maybe even the drinking and driving kind of mindset is still there. But we have a lot of provinces and places. The only place you can get liquor is the liquor store. So you go and it's a provincially run liquor store. Whereas in Alberta, at least, all of them are privately run. You can buy liquor from hotels and take it away with you. You can take, you can order it through like Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats, that kind of stuff. But a lot of the provinces is very much, this is the only place. And when I first went to the States, it kind of was interesting because you go into 7-Eleven, there'd be beer in the cooler. I'm like, oh, I like this. You mean I'm an adult? And you go to the grocery store and they'd have wine, but it hasn't quite got to that point here yet, for sure.
Some states have drive-through. You can literally drive up and get booze. And
Texas.
Your passenger can get a fucking margarita right there while you drive. Wow. They can drink.
Yeah.
Here, they call them package stores here. And then like even our Costco has a booze store, but you don't have to have a Costco membership to go to the booze store. It's individual. It's just tacked on there.
Our Costco's that way too. I always thought you had to have a membership. Just recently found out. But in Nova Scotia, where they have government only stores where I grew up, they had one drive-through one, and they couldn't put the ice and the beer in the same part of the vehicle for some stupid government reason. So the beer would have to go in the trunk, the ice would go in the back seat or whatever. That's just government at its best.
Yeah, we had that with our liquor stores for a while where they couldn't sell limes with the tequila. So if you wanted a margarita, you're like, I'm going to buy my liquor here. I'm going to get my limes there. And then when we got wine in grocery stores, the liquor store said, fine, but we want to be able to sell limes and other mixers in the liquor store because we're going to lose everything to the grocery stores otherwise, because they'll have an unfair advantage because they can sell limes and wine. Yeah. So that's how things loosened up here. Because it's when I first moved here, it was kookier than Oregon, and Oregon has government liquor stores. basically.
Didn't the
They tell
Kennedys
you
make-
everything, like what size sign you can put where.
Oh yeah, the
Didn't
taxes. Oh, sorry, John. Go ahead.
Didn't the Kennedys make all their money bootlegging and bringing booze back from Canada?
Yeah, I believe.
Prohibition?
All I can say is, I mean, this might be slightly off, but in my hometown, we have, obviously a wharf where on the Atlantic Ocean, and a lot of the very well-to-do business people may or may not have made their fortune through illicit substances. So, I mean, it was a very common practice for sure. And yes, from what I understand, I think the Kennedys did do quite a bit of that.
Yeah, I was driving around in Texas and I was really tempted to go to one of those drive-through margarita places, but I was pretty sure that didn't mean I could do that because I was driving. So
Well, you just couldn't drink it till you got home.
yeah, I wasn't that into a margarita that probably had sugar in it. I'm a weirdo. I drink margaritas with no sugar. I just lime juice margarita, little Grand Marnier, totally happy.
Yeah,
That's the way it should be.
I have a margarita every night, has no sugar.
Yeah, so you do the same. So Yeah.
I've never had a margarita. I'm gonna have to try one now.
What?
Isn't that something? I know, but
You came to LFTN 22 and no margarita. There was margaritas there.
I was too busy drinking bourbon or some of the, I will now. You guys got me talking. I got to try one. So
Are you coming here in June?
no, not this time. I
Are you
will
coming
though.
here in October?
We have a whole bar here.
I'm going to be in North Carolina in September, and I unofficially would really, really like to be in Texas in November. So it looks like those other things, I'm definitely SOE next year and LFTN next year for sure. 100%.
What's in North Carolina?
Prepper camp.
Okay.
I'm going to be speaking there. It's 4,000 people. It's the largest outdoor prepper expo. I'm going to be speaking all 3 days on preparedness. I'm quite excited. It's a big deal for me. I'm quite excited.
What are the dates?
7th to not.
Darn it.
I'll
Couldn't even be close to October 1st and 2nd. You could just stay.
Trust me, I've thought about it. Yeah, it might be later. That might be when Becky's going to Vegas. I get the dates mixed up. I'll figure it out. It doesn't matter.
I've got all my EMP shield here, Steph. I need you to hook up.
Sure. You talking to me, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to. That'd be awesome. I'd love to. Yeah, that would be freaking cool. But I will. If we can make something work, I'd love to get to. I was even thinking, are you doing one in the cold month of the year next year?
That's October.
Oh, what about February or not?
We haven't even announced October yet.
Okay, I didn't want to. I wasn't pulling too hard because I figured I'd get you in trouble. So we'll talk. I'll whatever.
I would suspect that EMP Shield is sponsoring our event, Self-Reliance Festival. I would suspect that EMP Shield is probably somehow involved with Prepper Camp if it's big. That big.
I will chat. Yeah, then I will chat with them while I'm there.
Those guys are super cool. Find them if they're there.
Yeah.
All I can say, I mean, I have bragged about LFTN for whatever, but those little in-person connections you make, they spiral out. Like I am booked for show guests for the next 3 months, and half of that came from either talking in person or talking to someone who knew somebody that is going to come on, and it's all high quality. Oh, it's just it's awesome. I know I've talked about it nonstop, but it's been awesome.
Well, they're qualified people, right? So if you met them at Nicole's, it took effort for them to get there, right?
Yep.
So it disqualifies all the non-doers for the most part if there's effort.
No, you're absolutely right. I agree. And anybody who's willing to put a little stake into it and get there, like you said, number one, it means that it means something to them. And number two, that upfront investment means that they're willing to do something for it. It's awesome. There. Thank you there, Mike. Yep. I knew I was wrong.
There is no reason you cannot be at the October Self-Reliance Festival.
Okay. So when is it?
The 1st and 2nd.
Oh, I might make it work then. That would be awesome.
And, you'd make a pretty good speaker and stuff.
That would be fun. I'd be all, you know what? That's that close. I bet you I can make it work. The wife can, and it's the best time of year because I don't have snow and I don't have grass. So I'm sure I can.
We also don't have snow and we do have grass.
I know. Yeah. It was great. I loved it. I'm still, everybody's like, man, you're so brown. I'm tanned up from being down there. It was crazy.
Yep. Cool. Okay. So the high pressure campaign to get Toolman Tim to Self-Reliance Festival is working, John.
Sounds like it's a done deal.
Speaking of campaigns, you guys want to hear a funny thing? An anarchist is running for town council in his local town.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It came out of nowhere, and had some friends that were like, you want to go or you want to run? I'm like, not really. And so basically I'm going to be like, hey, don't vote for me, but if you want to vote for me, go ahead and vote for me. It's interesting. We have a mutual friend that you introduced me to, Nicole, who is helping me unbelievably, as you can imagine.
Was it the person I tagged on Facebook?
Probably
no?
that lives near Washington, D.C.
That lives in DC.
Yeah.
Oh, different one. Oh, yeah. That person's very helpful.
So I will just I have a really hard time taking help from people. Period. I like to do everything myself. And when this mutual acquaintance offered to help, it takes you back, right? Because I don't really. Okay, thank you. And then I just had to smile and say yes. And then I reached out, and this person's like, right away, yeah, we'll help you. And I'm thinking, I love that. That is awesome because
so you're gonna win.
That's my plan. I don't do it if I'm not, I say that, but yeah, anyway, it'll be awesome. I'm excited.
Who are you running against? Anybody? Or
yeah, 3 people.
3 people.
Yeah, and one I know really well, really great guy. I don't know the lady who's running, but they're both seem like really nice people. But I know that the guy I'm running against is a local guy, really, really cool dude. So if I get elected, great. And if I don't, it's okay too, because I have a lot on my plate already. I'll do a great job at it, but if I don't, I'm okay with it too.
Well, you're about to find out whether they're nice or not.
Yeah,
I know. I'm too nice for my own good some days, but that's totally fine. I've learned.
Freedom Media says she needs a Rottweiler sitter for 4 dogs. Can they be? So I don't know if you're aware, there's a lot of businesses where you take your dogs there and it's like doggy daycare, and they have their own cages, their own kennels, and then they have access to the runs and stuff. I've seen places that have, looks like at least, 50 where the dogs are separate. Maybe somebody comes to your house. I don't know. Like my dogs couldn't leave here. My dogs have jobs to do. So somebody would have to come here, feed the dogs. But we've kind of built that in. There's people here on the property 24 hours a day, even when we're not now. So
yeah.
We just found a local, it was an incredible business. It's a lady who runs it, and she has teenage girls that come, and they'll come 3 times a day to check on your dog. So now when we leave, because we have a little army of Chihuahuas that, you wouldn't want to leave with anyone else. They come in, they sit with them for an hour, 3 times a day, and they don't charge enough. I told them they need to charge more. It's like $10 per dog per day. And anyway, we paid them more than that. Yeah. And they come, I think, yeah, no, that's what it was. Absolutely. And I'm like, you need to charge more. Anyway, so they come and they feed them, they play with them, they let them out to run, then they bring them back in. They're just an awesome little, just getting started. And they're right professional. And they brought me, and they're like, they had a waiver to sign, and they wanted you to put the names and the description of each dog and what they're, it was really cool. They're like 14-year-old girls running it with their mother. Yeah. That kind of thing. Any kid can do it. My daughter is making bank right now babysitting because no other 12-year-old kid her age wants to babysit. And she's got more money saved up in her bank account than I did when I was 25 years old. So she's doing well.
I am fortunate to be friends with homesteaders in the area. So when I go out of town, there are people who know how to handle animals here. But I would love to find somebody who is not a holler neighbor so that all the holler neighbors can leave all at one time, who could just stay here from time to time, a couple times a year, but they have to be comfortable with livestock, What
about, so have you, Farm Hop Life, I can't remember their names, but they were on Amy's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So they that's what they want to do, is hop around and help people out. And I'll bet you, I don't know if they've mentioned this yet, I'm just going to brainstorm for them. I bet you they could turn into farm sitters for people as well, so that they could jump from, instead of just going and helping people while they're there, go and help people while they're not there.
Yeah, but that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Power just came back.
There we go.
Look, lighting.
It sounds like you just need a new holler neighbor that's the last man on the totem pole. So when you all leave, that person stays there.
John, it's your fault I need this. You realize that. I'm like, hey, he's like, hey, let's do this event. And the next thing you know, it's 500 or 600 people. And I'm like, I actually need all the holler neighbors there to make this stuff run.
Yeah,
so,
imagine what that October one's going to be.
It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
I'm hiring an event planner for the October one.
Yeah.
How many people are you expecting at? Oh, no, did you just have it, or you got one coming right up?
No, we've got one in 2 weeks, June 11th and 12th. We're going to definitely have 500 people there. I'm contemplating.
650.
So
love it.
John and I have to have a debate about if we accept at the door people at this point. So we'll have that talk and let everybody know. Let them come?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
We used to, so when we'd have the big parties, right? Our biggest party was 900 plus. And we
Yeah.
book in, I'd have 3-4 acts, right? Bands play. And the last day, we wouldn't ever put it out in advance, but we'd be like, hey, the Georgia boys are here. Little White is here. And we just put flyers out and put it out in local Facebook. And we'd let all the kids come. So they would just come in. So we'd have another 200, 300 kids here just to see the music.
How
it can work.
if you'll how big, if you want to tell me, you don't have to if you don't, but how many acres or how big of an area? 10? Okay. Cool. That's yeah, right on. That's awesome. I can't wait to get there at this point. I've only heard almost all, no, I'm just kidding, all good things, but
we've pushed, like, so the area we're using for the event right now, we've had way more people in here. So like, we're good. We'll do it.
Nicole's like, just, yeah. And did she?
Is she frozen?
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
I'm like, man, she's not moving.
I was like, that is the longest I've ever seen her hold a stare before.
Yeah.
So just before I got live here, John, I just had, I just bought a DeWalt cordless kit. It comes from, anyway, it's got a long extension on it so I can screw down deck boards by standing up.
Cool.
They run all the collated screws. They're about twice as much, but
Yeah.
time it's going to save me doing decks. Oh my, yeah, I'm pretty excited. I thought if I had a chance, I'd tell you that.
Yeah, they even got like the belted nails. I've seen all the DeWalt stuff. It seems like nobody's even using air anymore. It's all battery stuff for the most part.
Oh, it is. Yeah. My finish nailer is all battery. I love that. Oh, yeah, there's no need, except roofing is still a little bit weird. Some of the guys, they can't, those, the coil nails they use for roofing.
Yeah.
There's some kind of, I don't know exactly why, but they have a hell of a time getting those to feed properly on a battery operated. See, Nicole, you're gone for 2 minutes. I started talking about DeWalt.
I saw most of the companies actually put out all their own linked, I call it ammo, right? Linked ammo for all their power tools. So it seems like when you have the tool, you got to use that company's stuff.
They like to say that. I mean, in my experience previously, especially with collated nails, what company brought out, I think it was 34-degree nails. When they brought them out, they were basically universal for any air nailer because, except the 28s, anything between 30 and 34 would work. So sometimes you just got to, bite the bullet and test things, because a lot of times if you take, sometimes I found that a different company's fastener will pair better with that company's tools. So sometimes it pays, or if you know a guy, say, hey, can I bum a strip or two or trade you a couple of strips from your brand just to see if they play better with my tools? I've done that some.
So I just bought a red hammer drill. We just put in all these swales up here.
Yeah.
We're putting in 1,000 trees. So I'm using this 2-inch auger. Actually, I think it's a 2.5-inch, 3-inch auger. So having that hammer drill, I just bend over. I don't even have to touch the ground. This sucker's, it's this long.
Yes.
But it'll break your wrist, man. Like if you don't have that extra handle, and the Milwaukee one has a little tiny skinny long handle, but a good handle, right? And
okay.
I'm like, there's no way this is going to work, man. It is awesome. Just having, because my DeWalt has a handle like right here.
Oh,
this thing, so I can brace the battery against my thigh and drill these things in. But man, if you're not careful, it'll break your wrist.
Was that a Hilti or was it a Milwaukee?
Milwaukee.
Okay, because I rented a Hilti last year when I busted through my cistern and turned it into a prepper pantry. And that thing was awesome because, yeah, again, you could do the same thing. It had a long handle and you could put it against your hip because it's like, I know you guys probably can't use augers too often in the ground down there. You hit a rock, but I on the occasional rock I do hit on the prairies. If you don't have it right up against you, you can be in trouble. Ooh.
So I have an auger for a 35 horsepower John Deere, and it augers really well, but it won't come out. It literally lifts the front end of the tractor off the ground.
Oh man!
We have to disconnect the auger from the assembly to the PTO, and then we have to use a giant breaker bar to get this sucker out. So now I have a 75 horsepower skid steer, and we have an auger for that. So I've got augers anywhere from 12 to 36 inches.
You ever figure out why it won't come out?
Even in grass. This is a gravel pit.
Okay.
Everything here is chert, which is basically super dried out clay and rock.
Jack got a kick out of me because I did 23 posts, never hit a rock, and I used to shop vac.
I don't know what that's like.
I used to shop vac to get the last little bit of soil out of the bottom of the hole, so it was perfectly flat.
Nice.
Yeah,
I think if we do any more fencing, when we buy more property, I'm gonna buy one of those pile driver assemblies that just drives the poles.
they're so nice.
Yeah, they're expensive though.
They're common around here, and I mean, you'll probably buy new. I know you like to buy new, but a lot of times you drive around and you just see them sitting out in a farmer's field, and if you go and talk to them, oh, that doesn't run in 10 years, whatever, give me for it. Yeah, you can save some money.
Yeah, they're driving 6-inch wood posts 36 inches into the ground.
I always like those. They used to bring in the real big ones when they put the pylons for the wharf on, like the on the Bay of Fundy, the salt water. I mean, those things are, I don't know, they're probably 50, 60 feet long or more, and they just drive them down.
You feel them miles away. The shock waves just carries through skyscrapers when they do that.
They had these weights in them that are just massive, and they'd pull them up, and they'd go down, and the damn post would only move maybe 1/8 of an inch. They'd be, because but it was cool. As a kid and even as an adult, I loved watching it.
Yeah. So Nicole, you dropped off the feed when I said, "Oh yeah, we can do 900." And I kept waiting for you to move.
Yes.
And I kept waiting. And I'm like, is she mad? And then so
we thought you froze in like terror.
Like deer in headlights. No.
It was a perfect look too, wasn't it, John? She's just
it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, I was all excited because the electricity came back on, which apparently when the electricity comes on, your internet goes out.
Oh yeah.
And then there's so 3 is for me, there's a backup internet solution, and I was just connecting to that, and then the internet came back up again. So I think it's weird because it's still running on the generator at this time. So there was no reason unless the switch up the hill decided to reboot itself. So
if anybody knows a solution for this, when I hook up my generator, a lot of times I'll let mine run. If it's during the day and you can't see your neighbors, mine will run for a couple hours after the power comes back on, because I don't even know that the grid power's back on.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm all smart, and I signed up for the text alerts. Sometimes they'll send them to me. Sometimes they'll be hours later. So I don't know if anybody knows of a monitor out there or something that'll.
Do you run everything on your generator?
I do. I've got it.
You need one thing that's not on your generator that comes on. That's what you need.
It's a simple idea. I could do that. Sure. Yeah. I could.
Red light bulb.
I mean, we had such a wonky power outage on Saturday. It was bouncing on and off, which is really bad for your fridge and freezer. So I finally just turned off the main breaker to the house, and then we put the chickens on the generator, and I went to bed. And when I woke up, I was like, well, the only way I know how to test this is turn that main breaker back on and see what happens. And I have no idea how long the power was on. Similar, thing.
Which means it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very true. Man,
yeah. It means you're in an awesome position as you are right now.
Yeah, you got a good spot there.
Well, apparently we have trees bouncing on lines this week. That's what I perceive it to be, because it's like something's hitting something.
We had we're supposed to have rain today. We had some rain yesterday. We had rain the day before, which is good. All the swales are functioning. The culverts we cut in, those are all functioning. The big pond is completely full right now.
I got to pick your brain, John. You have a bunch of wicking beds, right? Or do you do wicking beds?
No, I have floating rafts. I have about 1,800 gallons. We have styrofoam floating rafts with 2-inch holes, and then 2-inch net pots. So we actually start a lot of plants in soil, pull them out, put them in the net pots, and just put gravel. I literally take gravel off the ground, kind of, hold it, wedge it in place, and it grows. Some stuff does awesome, some stuff doesn't. We just added a ton of water hyacinth. I never painted my tanks black. We never concealed them, so they get sunlight, so they turn green very, very fast. So we put in a lot of, it wasn't a lot, it's a lot now, water hyacinth, and it's helping to suck a lot of the nutrients out. And then our fish, the fish are damn near, I'll bet they're 14 inches right now that are in there.
Oh,
I mean, do you want to paint those?
I don't really care. I mean, does it?
Okay.
People comment on all of the time, right, about how green the water is, but does it matter?
It just depends. What the algae is doing is the algae is eating your nutrient rather than the plant you want. That's the only problem I see with it.
Got it.
And that water hyacinth you can feed your livestock with.
Yeah. Which
That's
we
what I
want.
was wondering.
We just put 100 bluegill and 100 red ear sunfish in the big pond yesterday. The fish truck came, so that went in there. I think we're going to build like a 10-foot net, almost like a trampoline maybe, and enclose it so that we can put the water hyacinth contained in there and kind of tie it to the shore so that it will reproduce, but then we can just bring it to the shore and dump it right into the blade of a tractor bucket, and then we can just take it where we want to use it or compost it.
Yeah.
You think it's possible?
I just got water hyacinth from Spirko's place, so I have not overwintered hyacinth once in 5 years. Have you?
I have not. I just bought it from Amazon.
Okay, yeah.
Love Amazon.
I have this idea that I can overwinter it like my friends do, but somebody always has to bail me out.
I think you can.
Huh?
I think you can.
Oh no, Brian, who was going to run the smoker at Self-Reliance Festival and smoke that pig, he overwintered it this year, and he gave me one, and it's alive. So he takes it inside in a bucket and puts it in a shiny window and changes the water every so often. And his live. I do that, and they're like 3 weeks later, it's all dead. Just
like sweet potato slips.
Yeah, I get those done.
What were you going to say, Tim?
Oh crap. Oh yeah, about sorry. Fish, like outdoor fish. Do you think I could? Of course, you know me. It literally kills you outdoors 6 months of the year up here, right? Is that even? You think for me it would be more worth just doing for the 6 months and then shutting it down, or what do you think?
So for me, it's way cheaper if we just bought fish as soon as the thaw left.
Yep.
Grew them and then just killed them or ate them or buried them in the dirt for fertilizer. But I mean, we do dumb shit all the time. So I'm running 1,200 watts of stock tank heater, trying to keep 2,000 gallons of water that's trickling from freezing. And I mean, it freezes up. Like our IBC totes had 6 giant ice cubes, and they froze up so much you could put your hand down all the way to the bottom. But as soon as that, it's only like that for maybe 2 weeks. And the one tank that has the fish, we leave the stock tank heater in that one.
Okay.
And it froze too. And we're like, oh, those fish are gone. But it's never killed them. And we're using butterfly koi.
Okay. Yeah, I just we'll have 2-3 weeks sometimes at minus 35 or 40. So it gets, and we have a frost line. I probably told you this, of about 10 feet. So I mean, I'd be willing to try anything, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. People who have ponds in your area, do their fish overwinter?
Have you ever seen the guys take the chainsaws in the lake, cut them?
Oh yeah.
The blocks, and there's a fish in there, and they put it on the shore, thaw it out, and the fish starts flapping. Have you ever seen that?
I have. I never thought of that.
Yeah, fish have like an antifreeze in them or something.
That would be
antifreeze.
Crazy. No, I
fish emulsion in my car. See how that goes.
It's just like your turtles and your reptiles and amphibians. I mean, they get in the mud and stuff, but those fish, I've seen dozens of times. Like James Yeager was saying, him and Barry, his brother, they used to take and cut fish out of ponds here, put them on the shore, let the sunlight hit them, and they would just flop around, and then they get back in the pond.
How many fish can you raise in an IBC? I know that's all relatively speaking, but
I don't ever do what people say you can do. I mean, sure, how many should you do? I'm not the dude to ask. Jack or Nicole would probably.
So the aquarium ratio is 1 fish inch per gallon of water.
Yes.
Okay.
But
I'd always heard that surface area, right? So if you got a tall, skinny tank, because I wanted to do bubble tubes. I wanted to have tubes of water that went from upstairs to downstairs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to put jellyfish in there and have them, have some circulating water blowing up. But when I talked to the aquarium, turns out the best saltwater guy is in Franklin, Tennessee, of all places.
That's
perfect.
perfect.
Up all the tanks in Dubai and stuff for all the restaurants and hotels. But talking to those guys, it was surface area. Now, when the pond guys were here yesterday, when we were talking to the pond guys, there's 3 ways to calculate it: surface area, gallons, and then he had something else, because the stocking density, our pond is 65 feet deep. It's 3 million gallons, but it's only, a quarter of an acre. So I'm not the dude to ask that.
Go ahead, Nicole. Yeah.
I was going to say the other thing is it also depends on what you're doing for water quality. So more filtration equals denser fish. And part of what's happening in aquaponics is you are sending that water out and it's filtering. So depending on how much filtration you are achieving, that will determine how many fish you can have. And the entire premise behind aquaponics is overstocking. So you have too much nutrients, so your plants have food.
Yep.
And then as part of that, what happens sometimes if you're out of balance is you kill fish.
Okay. And we run a ton of air. I have 4 air stones. I mean, they're big. They weigh a pound a piece probably in each tank. We have one badass pump that has a manifold, and then we have a distribution block, and we ran silicone tubing. So we have 4 air stones for every tank. We're about to hardwire all that. We're about to hard pipe all that, because what we're having happen is the silicone tubing comes up over the edge of the IBC tote, and after 2 years, it's starting to pinch. Yep. So we're going to have it all above so that it just drops straight into the tanks and just remove more failure points to it. So a lot of air, and then you could always run a canister vac. I mean, you could put like a jacuzzi, hot tub vacuum assembly on there, or any of the aquarium filters. I mean, we ran, big aquarium filters on our bigger tanks, years ago.
I just thought of it. I'm going to have a heated garage for the first time this winter. And so that might be I'm just thinking I could definitely square up at least enough space for an IBC tote in there. So maybe we'll experiment and see what happens.
My concern would just be, like, I don't know what your garage looks like, but I wouldn't want to bring open top water in this garage here just with humidity.
Oh, yeah. I'd never have I say that. It's getting pretty tight. Yeah, I suppose in an enclosed, I might have to have a little bit of circulation, but humidity in general is not an issue here ever. But in an enclosed area, it could become a little bit, but it probably would only serve to bring it to a comfortable level, I'm thinking.
Do you ever do anything with shipping containers?
Mm-hmm.
So I have
2 of my own, but I haven't modified. Doorbell.
Do they condensate?
No, not here. There's a worry of that, but not really here. No.
So mine, you'll open them up and they're literally raining inside.
Yeah.
It'll be ice outside, but the sun will heat them and they're just dripping. Like I have a commercial dehumidifier inside one of them.
Oh.
And it's constantly running, and pumping through a garden hose. And then I've got 2 other in there. But I heard that if you cut vents, they make these vents that go right in place that meet the corrugation. So if you put a vent on each side on one end high and put a vent on the other side low, it'll kind of it'll do like a swirling, like a convection or something through there.
You know what? I wonder if that's why I don't have a problem. Mine came pre-installed with a few of those vents on like every 4th corrugation all the way along the top.
Oh, yeah.
But we have, I can literally store like rock salt, for instance, year round in there, and it's as good as the day you put it in.
Wow.
I know, right? In Nova Scotia, at the hardware store where I worked, we could not over summer rock salt. If we did, we had to sell it for like a penny on the dollar, because Tony, the guy that used to buy it from us, would literally throw it on his garage floor with a sledgehammer to break it apart. So
you have to run it through a wood chipper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Rock salt wood chipper. Wow. The other thing, Tim, is I don't know what ponds do with a stock tank heater in your climate, because mine, I don't let mine freeze like John does. I put the stock tank heater at 36 degrees Fahrenheit. It kicks on and it keeps that water at about 36 degrees. I just don't know what that looks like at 30 below, if that's even a thing.
About like that. They basically a 4-inch footprint all the way around the stock heater. I have lots of people who have live. It basically keeps a hole open that a cow or 2 can get their mouth in, and but yeah, I don't know deep, but there's no way it would keep it completely thawed. Like you'd probably, yeah.
And then circulating the water makes it harder to freeze. Mm-hmm. So that's the other, because I've been below 0 here, but only for an overnight, and then it doesn't come above freezing. And I've got water going through exposed pipes in my system, and it does not freeze.
We have
because it's moving.
We have frost-free faucets.
Love those.
Which, terminate down. There's an extra tube inside that lets the water drain out. When you install them, you put this pocket of gravel in there, and the water runs in there, and it's below your frost line. We had those freeze up this year. So we'd already staged. We brought in a couple of Rubbermaid stock tanks. I think they're 100 or so gallons each, and we had 2 of them. And I just would take pictures and fill all the rabbit bottles. We actually moved to bowls in the winter because we have to change them twice a day because they freeze up. But just running a stock tank heater on 200 gallons one day, and then I'd go out and move it to the next one. And while it would just kind of go back and forth, so neither of them were really froze up. We were able to do both tanks with just one heater back and forth. And it adds a little bit of work, but it's a whole lot less work than trying to insulate that rabbit house or, do any of the other stuff that are the options.
Did you say you didn't run your home heat or house heat at all last winter, John? Did I hear you right the other day?
Yeah, we didn't. So we live here in this building. We have there's a big loft upstairs and an apartment, and it's all natural gas. I have 5 heat and air handlers right here behind these walls. We didn't run natural gas this year at all. Well, we do the kitchen, all the appliance, all the stoves and stuff. Those are all natural gas. But we ran no heat this year. We never even fired in production in the area here. We never turned the heat on.
Wow. So, we were talking about shit hits the fan, everything. That's one of our biggest concerns up here. I mean, is literally surviving through the winter if it got that bad. And that's a quarter of the reason I was talking about land somewhere south. It would sure be nice to be able to, subside somewhere where you literally didn't have to spend every living minute trying to find firewood or something.
Well, it was cold here. I mean, I think it was colder than it had been in a long time. I was outside in big ass bunny suits and stuff doing farm stuff, but when the contractors came through to put the lighting in, I said put twice as much lighting as they recommended, and I said I want the brightest stuff, which was T5 HOs, and they'll burn the shit out of you.
Yep.
So because we run so much light that's kicking out just crazy heat, I think that's why we didn't have the heat inside. But in the years past, we have. So we are adding wood heat, though. I have nothing that burns wood. We're adding a furnace as well as a couple stoves and then an actual Amish cook oven. I have a lot of wood. I have a wood processor and everything. But inside, we have nothing that's capable of burning wood.
Okay. Yeah, and Tim, the rocket mass heater suggestion here from Freedom Media Corps, you may want to look at just how those work.
Oh, yes,
because
absolutely.
My experience with one is just in my well house, and I have to rebuild it because we made a mistake with the mortar. But when it was working, it was 2 hours of burning, and then it was warm in there all night.
And
it wasn't that, and it was like that much wood, right? It wasn't a ton of wood that burnt. It was just little sticks that I was throwing in it.
The pioneers did it. You know what I mean? I get that the rocket mass heater would be less work, but it's less work to an extent. I mean,
more work up front, maybe a better way, because you got to build the thing.
And you're also literally, I'm not sure where Freedom Media is from, but it's literally minutes from life to death when it's that cold. It's a whole nother level of concern that if you run into troubles, you don't have hours, you have minutes. You know what I mean? And it's just a big concern. Like I said, the pioneers did it when they moved to the prairies, so it's possible. But lots of people died, and lots of people lived very, very uncomfortably for a good portion of the year.
But the rocket mass heater seems like it would be awesome in the row house, right? So I have I think it's 65 feet by 16 feet, 14 tall greenhouse, row house. And we have a furnace that just came off of a friend's, took it out of a job site and then put in new stuff. But it's a big box that'll be awesome. But it seems like a rocket mass heater would be awesome inside that house. We could extend it a couple months at least, start a month early and run 2 months, on the back end with supplemental heat inside that thing.
Yeah. That would be cool. And a lot of there are greenhouse style ones. I don't know if you've seen those, John, but
and then you can thermal sink them, right? So you just build a big box around it and you fill that with sand or you fill it with diatomaceous earth. So when the fire goes out, you're still radiating heat out of there. But it's a pretty big box, right? It takes up a lot of room in wherever you're going to have it.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to, it's basically, the old cast iron stoves, they would hold so much heat. And this is the same principle, just on a much larger scale.
Well, and I have a soapstone stove here. So it's got, 4 or 6 inches of soapstone. It weighs more than 450 pounds because I remember putting it in here. And that thing completely changed my life from a cast iron stove, because I do stoke it at night, but I don't have to.
And there's
it just keeps radiating for 8 hours after the fire goes out.
And there's a huge difference. Like, a lot of people start talking wood burning stoves, and they're like, I'm going to go to Tractor Supply and get one. And you can for, $500.
Yeah.
But the difference between a $3,000 stove and a $500 stove is months worth of this, right? If you have to source that wood, or you have to buy that wood, or you have to put man hours into that wood, those expensive stoves burn a third of the wood that the others do, and put out way more heat.
That was my other concern I forgot to mention, is lack of fuel here, of course. It is the prairies. And I mean, the amount of energy you would spend to go find any burnable wood really quick, does the town have trees? Yep. But they're going to be gone quick. and then where do you go? The next, because
furniture.
Yeah, furniture. And then where do you go? I know I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just like, there's certain realisms of living on the prairies that's just a little different, like the only trees that are here for the most part are either just little scrub brush stuff or things that have been artificially planted around acreages as windbreaks. So it's just a different mindset. That's all.
What the pioneers do, Dung?
We have people doing forestry here, and they're coming through and cutting the pieces they want, but they only take the vertical, right?
Yeah.
So you've got these huge limbs that you can't move, but if you get in there with a mini excavator, you can take and load up a trailer, bring them back, and then we're cutting in a manner that with a mini excavator, you just buck them up. We don't even have to use a log turner or anything. We just pick them up with the mini X, chop them to the pieces, and roll them to the gate. And on the wood splitter, it'll lift the biggest. I mean, if it'll fit on there, it'll lift it. So it's all about touching it less and less. And then there's a conveyor, and we're going to take the conveyor and run those into the IBC tote frames. And then we can use the skid steer to move all those cages of wood around, and then because we don't have to buy $80 food grade IBC totes, we'll take those empty totes, cut about 12 inches of the bottom off, flip them upside down, and that's your rain cover on top of those IBC totes, but it's still getting crosswind through the cages, and we can stack them up multiple high.
You ever look at those firewood processors? They're like almost an all-in-one with the wood. They'll cut it to length, put it on a conveyor belt. I have a Wolf Ridge Manufacturing.
Yeah, it does everything but cut. It's a commercial wood processing unit.
I do miss processing firewood. I enjoyed that a lot on the East Coast. We loved it always.
So Wolf Ridge is a great company to deal with. They really took care of us on everything. You guys have somebody up in Canada that makes one. I can't remember the name, but it's like orange and blue. If you look it up, you'll see it. It's the only orange and blue ones out there. But man, I can't say enough good about Wolf Ridge Manufacturing. If you've ever seen Outdoor with the Morgans, that's what they use also. They use that same equipment.
Cool. I love picking up gleaned firewood too. We did a lot of that over the years, especially when we were broke ass poor. You would go in where they would harvest, and whatever was left you could have. Another good, I'm sure a lot of people think of this, but slab wood from sawmills I used to buy.
Yeah.
You could fill up an entire truck body for, back then it was like $15. I'm sure it's a lot more now.
It's like 40 now here.
It's still great. And that's great wood for the in-between seasons.
Like they take 2 years to cure, but they're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't sure what was going to happen when the CUFAS started a few years ago. So I bought this with the intention is if we did lose shipping, I would still be able to employ some of my people, and we would just start processing wood and selling firewood should we need to. If we lost shipping, you're going to lose other things, right? And I wanted this unit anyway, so it was just a way to keep my guys employed should that need ever arise.
I've just realized that when a redneck takes over your YouTube channel, he starts commenting as you. I was like, I did not write that comment, and there it is in my name.
I promise I will not. Oh, wait, that was me doing it, right?
Oh, that was you. Okay,
that was
good.
Me.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like,
I thought it was tactical. I was like, geez.
I'm a redneck, sure. Yeah,
no, you're a redneck too.
Yeah.
I deem you an honorary redneck.
I got my neck red when I was in Daytona Beach. I'll tell you that. So
I get it because you're logged in as me, so that you can run this when my power goes out. Yeah, all the backup plans.
Yeah. Did you see this question about suggestions for storing firewood in a rainy location, Orlando? Cover it over the roof at least. Like we, out east, we would, lean-tos against shops were real popular. Find wasted space, put an angled roof so the wind can get it, south facing so the sun can shine on it, but and up off the ground. So, I mean, this should go that maybe some people don't know, but we always put 2x4s or 4x4s on the ground, run 2 lengths, stacked them. So then you're keeping the rain off, you're letting the air through, and you're letting the sun get to it.
Yeah, I can say how I do it here because it's very rainy here without a wood shed, which is that's in the future here, is I put T-posts about 8 feet apart. And same thing, something underneath. I stack the wood and then I just take tin roofing and put it on top with logs weighting it down. And that is enough for it to cure. And it's the same thing. The south can hit the wood pile. The wind is getting through and it cures just fine that way. And it stays very amazingly dry. Like it'll get some side swiping, but I move it from there under cover in the winter for a week or two before it comes in the house anyway. Yep. Works great.
Side of a shipping container, 40 feet long. We built an awning coming off south facing. So I have 40 feet of wood, about 6 feet tall, which gives me I have about 4 rows stacked back. Keep in mind, any place you have wood, you're going to have reptiles and you're going to have rodents and bugs. So if you put that against your house, termites will be an issue. So just be aware of that unless you have like a metal building or something.
And the biggest the biggest battle with firewood too, people think, it's the rain getting on it, and it kind of is, but it's more getting that moisture, that natural moisture out of the wood.
Yeah.
So you want that breeze.
Exactly. Yes. And just time. Now, if you're in a hurry, if you have ash trees around, you can literally cut ash and burn it from the stump. It'll sizzle, but it'll burn. We did that our first winter in our first house, and it'll work, but just keep an eye on the creosote in the chimneys.
Yeah, I had uncured wood this year, and what I did, I had a little bit left from the year before, and as I went into fire season, because I only heat with wood, I stacked wood inside my house, ran the fire with the good wood, and then I just had a rotation of that at all times. And it takes about 4 days in the house.
Wood will dry quicker too, of course.
Yeah, and it was split, of course, yeah.
And then we use rail ties. That's what all of our stuff is stacked on.
You can even throw a couple of pieces on top of your stove if you're adventurous. I used to do that quite often.
Or under it.
Yes, under it. Yeah, just be careful.
If you're desperate, you can put it under it. That really wet one.
Spot where the cats like to lay.
Not recommended by your insurance company for fire insurance. Just
they
saying.
recommend wood burning appliances, period, anymore.
I mean, somebody saw my stack of wood that's always by my stove in the wood holder. Freaked out, flipped out, said, take that picture off the internet if you ever have a fire, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, at some point when you have a wood stove, you want the wood by the stove so that you can put it in the stove. And I have like this metal rack, holds it up in a little O. It's great.
I like when people freak out on the internet in public, like they're trying to help you. If they were really worried about you, they wouldn't draw the attention to the internet. They would back channel, go, hey, by the way.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times
that wood needs to be 4.3 feet from your wood stove in order. Yeah.
I mean, literally every set of fireplace tools you ever see comes with a log holder. And where's it designed to sit? Right next to the stove.
By your stove. Yeah.
I know. Whatever. Yeah.
Grumpy Acres Farm says using 2 pallets on the ground and 1 on each end. So if you build a crib side to side and to the top of the upright pallets, you put it 90% of a cord.
So when we put, and for you guys that don't know, there's a difference between a cord and a face cord. A cord is what? 4x4x8, right?
Yeah, 120.
So a face cord is 8 feet long, 4 feet tall. But what's your cord length? What's it cut at, right? What is your oven, your stove take? Are you cutting 13 inches? Are you cutting 16 inches? A furnace will take longer pieces. There's a lot of things to that. When I put pallets on the ground, though, they don't make it through the year. Like the ground just eats pallets up.
They're plastic pallets. Yeah. I'm getting a lot more of those. We got some supplies. Anyway, they're plastic pallets. Just keep an eye out for them because they're becoming more and more a thing.
That's because wood's so expensive, I hear.
Yeah. And
I've got a guy who does this weekly shopping report. He's a weekly grocery shopper. And so every Saturday he puts up this report and he's been for almost a year now, saying what the price of a 2x4 is at Lowe's and just going through and what's short and what isn't. It's very interesting. If you're really, really nervous about shortages and inflation, it's a great thing to read because you see the reality of what's going on rather than the news story about the expensive dozen eggs, which is also happening, in spikes. But it's just over time, it's a good story to tell you what's really going on.
Have you heard that dimensional lumber, like let's say a 2x4, right, is different from Lowe's to Home Depot to actual lumber mills, right?
Definitely from different. Yeah. So most lumber mills that I've run into tend to be a little on the thicker side than the stuff that you get from Home Depot and Lowe's. Now, I heard you mention that, and I had meant to go and measure when I was in the city this last time to see, but I believe it. And honestly, though, I mean, at least in my area, Home Depot, Lowe's, there's 3 or 4 large mills or large suppliers, and they're all coming out of there. Now, maybe some of them will say, hey, they can wane a little more. You can send through, like if it's 2 and better, or sometimes it's 3 and better. So a lot of times you'll get the 3, you'll have a little more, there'll be those dips where there isn't quite wood or a little bit of bark or whatever. So that could be where Lowe's is putting in their orders at, I don't know, what would it be, 5/8, and Home Depot's putting it in at 3/4. That's a possibility, but I'll have to measure it and see. We'll make a video out of it. It'd be interesting.
And too, when guys, like, you always see the contractors pulling through and they're looking down, and the bent ones, if you ask them, they'll sell you those warped ones for a lot less money. And maybe you're not going to use it at 10 feet long, but you can cut that sucker to 6 feet and get it to do something. We've got a timber mill about 10, 15 minutes from here, and we buy rough cut from them, and we pay probably 30% of what we're paying at Lowe's, but it doesn't stay straight, right? It comes straight, but it's not cured yet.
Tends to be a lot. Yeah. Does he have a kiln at all or not at all? I
think he's added one or about to add one. But like we built outhouses that were just badass, and now the doors like stay open 6 inches. But it's just the trim. I mean, we just have to adjust it. We can make them work.
When I sold building supplies, we would keep called lumber piles like crazy.
Yeah.
It's the type of thing that, they look straight if you laid on your back and look down a well, like they were awful. But we would sell them for 10, at the end of the year, we would have huge yard sales and we'd sell them. People would buy an entire lift for a couple $100. It was great. That's funny. Yeah.
We just went to buy bricks. I went to get cinder blocks, and we ended up getting, I don't know what the dimensions were. I think they were 8-inch. But they have giant holes. They're big, huge cinder blocks. Yeah. And he said, what are you doing with these? I said, I'm using them to elevate stock tanks for grow beds, right? We're using them for raised beds. And he said, can you use seconds? And I said, what do they look like? He took us out and shipped. He goes, they all just have chips on them, but we'll give you these for 96 cents a block. So we bought hundreds of these things. But I mean, we were going to pay, I think, $2.50, $3 a block. But he had these blemishes. So, I mean, ask him when you go there.
Oh, blemishes. Another idea. If you're buying a Berkey, I save 20% of my Berkey by buying a blemished unit. And their idea of a blemished unit is like, you can't even notice. Yeah. Or a little discoloration in the stainless steel. And I mean, they're an investment. So I was a little worried, but I bought mine from a place in Saskatchewan. And I asked them, I said, like, if this is bad, can I send it back? And they're like, yeah, but you won't have a problem with it. I couldn't even find the blemish. And they have like a 10% blemished one and then like a 20% off heavily blemished. I couldn't find the difference. It was, yeah.
Man, I just saw Liz from the Harley dealership show me a picture of a new wall they just did where they took pallet wood, burned it, and made a whole wall in her dealership out of it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you seen the upstairs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we did, all pallet right there.
Yeah.
That's all that.
I cannot remember it. I need to come see that next time again. It's been a while.
Also on the spiral staircase. That whole way up there is all pallet.
Yeah.
Excalibur dehydrators will sell blemishes also. They'll have seconds that are just, scratches in the plastic casing or whatever. And I know a ton of people refuse Harvest Right freeze dryers over silly little shit. So I would assume, I don't know for sure, but I would assume they probably do also.
Well, I was wondering that because that would be a way to save a little money.
Or get it a lot faster.
Also, yeah, well, that's the big thing right now, really. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Do you have a pallet tool for pulling apart pallets, John? Or
And I've bought everything there is for pulling apart pallets. Like I've done hundreds of feet of pallet walls. I brought the palm thing that pushes them through, the air actuated palm nailer.
I have this.
That didn't.
I have this tool. It's as tall as I am. Do you have that one?
I've got a big ass pallet tool that pivots and it's made for ripping them apart. Man, I've tried everything. But the pallets, at least all the pallets I see, they're put together with these helica screws, these nails. They're
spiral nails.
Yeah.
They have ridges on them. Like, there's not a tool I've bought that takes these things apart.
So my brother-in-law built me one of those long. So mine's about 5 feet long. We made it out of 1-inch oil tubing. So like heavy duty cast iron pipe. He said it'd be Tim proof. The first draft wasn't. I still broke it. But the second draft, he put a reinforced piece of 3/4 inch square tubing on the back. And that thing, I can come onto that because it's about 5 feet long. And I've had the best. I haven't done pallets in a few years, but it was the best one I found for pulling them apart.
So I started buying, if you go to Home Depot and I buy them online, I usually buy 20 of them at a time, and you buy busted down pallets. They send you a square cardboard box. All the pallets are out of there. They cut them apart.
Oh.
Between, right? So you're getting full-size slats, and they give you the runners. And I want to say it's like $20 a pallet, maybe. It's already busted down, and it's free shipping. So you buy, I think it has to hit $200, and then a semi truck pulls up out here, and they drop these things off. And if you search pallet wood on Craigslist, not Craigslist Marketplace, at least around here, there are a ton of Amish sawmills that just give you a trailer load of this pallet wood. They've never been assembled. It's where a lot of the pallet companies get their wood from, though.
Yes, sir. You ever looked at pine? What do they call it? Pine clapboard or whatever. It's about an 8 package pine. They call it 14 feet in a package. It's shrink wrapped, 8 foot long. A lot of times you can buy cottage grade of that for about half the price, and it works really good. And it's tongue and groove too. I
bought a bunch of tongue and groove pine that was super knotty, and then they also have some that has these cool joints in it every couple feet.
Yep.
And that looks super cool when you stain it up. And a lot of this stuff, I'll stain it with different rub-on stains, and then I'll torch it with a weed torch. Oh. And then I'll also torch first and then put stain, and you get two different appearances with it.
I got to look at, my brother-in-law does a lot of, he built us a potato box that he wood burnt like that, and it looks so good. Yeah, that's great.
Man,
somebody asked if I could make a video on that pallet tool. I will. Yeah, I'll do one. Might be a couple weeks, but I'll do one for you.
We were taking and just beating up with big screwdrivers and just beating up wood to make it look weathered. We were hitting it with chains from all these YouTube videos. Man, you can really hurt yourself with that shit. Those chains coming back at you.
Just tie a rope to 4 or 5 of them, throw it on your trailer hitch, and then drive around for a bit. But
yeah, that'd be good.
I had an old. Can I tell? Anyway, I'm gonna tell you. We had an old guy in my hometown. His name was Fraser Cipher. I'm sure he's long passed. He's a Harley Davidson biker, missing one leg. Drove a Harley Davidson 12 months of the year in Nova Scotia. That was pretty crazy. He came in one night and he ordered 3 2x4s 10 feet long, and he looks at me with a smile on his face. He says, "I only need about 8 feet." And I said, "How come?" He says, "Because I'm going to drag him home on my bike." He lived 15 kilometers, so 10 miles away from whatever. He put a rope around him, tied him to the little Jesus Christ bar or whatever, the little handle on the back, and he drug him the whole way of the highway all the way home.
Yeah.
I can't imagine if a cop come along, but yeah.
Is what it is.
Yep.
We did things as children.
Many times.
I don't know how we're all still alive, but we are all still alive. What do you look at those giraffes?
Oh, that's Oh, easy go. Oh, that is
showing us the wall.
Oh, yeah. John, that is gorgeous. Did you guys just randomly pick different color stains?
Yeah. Well, on this one, I had a couple stains, but then I would apply them with less water.
Yeah.
I would dilute them less. But upstairs, we'll go upstairs. I'll show you. There's a bunch of different colors up here we added in.
Remind me to share a tip here in a minute so I don't forget. Oh, he's walking. All right. So if you ever go and buy seconds in paint, and say you're trying to save some money, go in and buy all the colors that are kind of like an off brown or anything that's halfway close to a color you're happy with, then mix them all together in a big 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, and you end up with a unified color.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a good idea. We've done
That's a great idea. So there's the wall.
John, that I love. Is that blue or green? It's hard to tell.
There's both. There's a turquoise,
Okay.
and there's a teal, and then there's blue and red. And then there's some where we just hit. I like the rough grain. I'll hit more with fire first.
That is gorgeous.
But like these were just 16-foot boards we bought, and then just took them out in the parking lot and chopped them with a DeWalt, circular saw.
Yeah. That is nice. You could make, I know you don't need another product to make, but you could make like decorative signage and stuff out of those boards.
Yeah, you totally could. And you can get branding irons with your personal brands on them.
Yep.
And those, you can get those that plug in, or you can get them where you apply torch to them to heat them up.
That would be nice. Yeah, a lot of the farmers around here just use, if they're not big time ranchers where they do it in the field, they just use electric branding irons now.
Yeah, exactly.
More reliable.
Yeah.
Reliable is good.
Yeah, except when you don't have power, or you do it like the ranchers do way out in the fields. But
yeah, you always have power if you have a generator.
That is true. Yeah.
And gas.
Yes.
I mean, all your side-by-sides now have inverters and power on them. Even.
Good point. I never even thought of that. Yeah, they do.
Our four-wheelers all have 12-volt outlets. All of our trucks out here all have 110 plugs.
Be careful. I mean, and I know you know this, but I'm going to say this for other people. A lot of those 110 outlets internally are only rated for something like 150 watts. So, like, for instance, I charge my DeWalt batteries. I have a 4-port DeWalt battery charger that's a rapid charger, but I can only plug one battery in at a time on that. If I plug in two, it resets.
Problem.
So
yeah.
Now, a lot of the new Fords, I believe, they're putting a plug in the box, and I think those are good for 800 or maybe 1,500 watts. So, yeah, they're worth having. But just be careful you don't burn out an outlet that you shouldn't be overtaxing. That's all.
Yeah, I've done that before. I did that pumping up a mattress once, or a kayak or something in my car.
Oh, well, and when they're pulling power over time too, they're heating that up, and when you heat it up, it lowers the resistance, I believe, if I got my science right, and then it can cause more current to pull through and blah blah blah,
and then boom.
Yep. Or you burn
no worky. Then you're like,
damn it.
Cool.
Well, what are we? I guess
we're winding up. I'm not seeing a lot of questions here. You got anything else you want to cover, John? Or
awesome comment. Yeah, I could talk all day. I love it. But yeah. I mowed before we went out, and I'm going back out to mow after we're done. I just come in, change my shirt, dry my face off, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. Yep. Yeah, I got more shit to do this afternoon, which is good. I was going to clean windows, but it's too hot. Another tip: if you want to get into washing windows, follow the sun or be ahead of the sun, and don't do it early in the morning or late in the evening. Otherwise you'll leave streaks.
Yeah, it dries too fast in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Awesome. John, what do you got?
I don't know. We're about to another hour here. We're going to film a video. I don't know. I'm going to walk out here and see what we actually have, what's been made, and figure out what's going in the email tonight. I'm sure Amanda's way ahead of where I am. I just go out and do social media photos and go from there. And I'm kind of just waiting for an hour till these guys show up.
Awesome. And if you want, you'll do your live tonight on Rumble, right?
Me? No, I'm doing a live on Facebook.
Facebook. Okay. So 9 o'clock. Live stream on Facebook, as long as Facebook lets them in.
I just walk around and show you what we did all day, and the conversation just goes wherever they want it to go. And when the conversation's good, we'll go 2 hours. And if there's not a lot of conversation, it might just be a half hour.
When do you get out of YouTube jail?
Friday, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, we loaded it. It would be Friday. Sometime Friday.
So he'll be back, we think, with 2 strikes.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm coming back. Like, I'm not sure I'm even going to mess with it.
Do you get much income from that stream?
I get zero income from that.
Okay.
I have over 3,000 videos. I have 26,000 subscribers. I've had 25,000 subscribers for 10 years.
Oh,
they literally unfollow more people than follow. If you ever watch one of my live feeds, you will see a dozen people every night going, I didn't get a notification. Yep. I went in and I was unsubscribed again. It happened over and over and over. And I've got friends with YouTube channels. You should be growing. Once you hit 25,000, you should be growing 1,000 subscribers every month minimum.
Yep.
We use programs that adjust the algorithms. We use programs for all of our keywords. Like, we're doing it as a business. And I've got friends that are making like 17 grand a month on YouTube who have channels of our equal size. It's just not propagating. Like, we're probably going to set up another YouTube channel, SOEIRL, in real life, just to do the live feeds. You have to hit 1,000 before you can do any monetization.
Yeah.
I think you have to hit 5 before you live feed. But that's where the money's at. Like, if you look at Tim Pool or any of those dudes, they're doing 40, 50 grand a night in super chats, of which they get, 60% of.
It blew me away. I had Angry American on my show the other day, and it was awesome. And like, it just blows me away that people are willing to just support you with money like that. Like, I did okay in that one show, 2-hour show. I made more money in super chats than I'd made probably combined before. And
yeah, you just have to have big name, like Angry American.
And
love his books.
Yeah. Oh, what an awesome guy. He's given me a couple of autograph books. I'll plug that. So go to my social. I have two, one that's going out to the general public to be given away, and one that's going to be given away in our book club. But I just want people to post a picture of their favorite book, and I will enter you, and you'll have a chance to win an autographed copy of Going Home.
Very cool.
And there's a lot of those books. Love it.
They're awesome.
My buddy Jack Carr just put another book out called In the Blood, soon to be a New York Times bestseller. Everything else he's done has been. So check that out. He's doing book signings around the United States right now.
Nice.
Angry American's got awesome stuff. Glenn Tate's got a great set of books called 299 Days.
Yeah.
If you haven't read those, you don't even have to read anymore. You can just listen to them.
That's all. Yeah.
So
his wife, Shelby Gallagher, his wife, she has books too. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of good ones out there. Especially if you're into prepper porn. Yeah, that's I go back and forth. I'm like, for like a month, it's all podcasts. And then for a month, it's like recharge on fiction, and I'll listen while I'm working. And just make time and find it.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Well, if you haven't gotten your Self-Reliance Festival ticket, get it, because as much as John's saying let anybody in, which I guess we will at some point, we will turn off online sales because we're filling up fast.
Well, you're going to pay more at the door.
You're going to pay more at the door, $15 more at the door.
And it should be. And if you want to once you get past your certain number, maybe put it up even more. So
that's probably what will happen.
Yeah.
You have people coming from around the world to come to these events. And some of these events are $450.
Yeah.
Like, we're nowhere near that. And I think we have a lot more, and definitely more hands-on, and everybody's here. Like, when you come to this event, the people speaking, they don't just leave. Like, you can talk to these guys for 2 days straight. You have access to these. They're not going to just zip in here, do their 30-minute thing, and then they're gone. And people come from all around the world to see these guys talk. They're here. Like, if you want to meet these guys, if you follow these guys and you've watched these guys for a decade, those dudes are here.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is something that's cool about the Self-Reliance Festival that's not true of every festival is that we are no longer taking demo applications online. That just means you're not listed in the schedule. That does not mean you can't anarchy demo something that you're good at. I had somebody ask me, hey, do you have a ham radio demo? And I said, well, we're past the point where the schedule's been set. So it is what it is. But if you want to anarchy demo ham radio, set up and people will be interested. So I don't even know everything that you can see that's going to happen here, because we'll encourage people from the stage. Hey, if you got something you want to show, if you want to show how to whittle a spoon or can some food or ham radio, anarchy demo, that's totally fine. Show people how to do stuff. That's the whole point of this, is that we're exchanging information. Yeah, we're learning new skills. We're meeting people.
You can come here and sell shit too. I mean, I don't need to know about it. Do it in the parking lot. Whatever you guys work out, whatever it is you're working out.
You want premium placement? Get a booth. If you want to sell from the car, sell from the car.
We don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, the accessibility at yours, Nicole. I mean, I barely went to any presentations because literally, like, after day one, I don't think I went to another presentation because it was all about sitting around and meeting people and interacting. To me, that was worth way more. Picking people's brain up front, and I loved it.
I saw you for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Went and did my presentation, came back, sat with a group of people and talked, left, and I never even saw you again.
I, I know. I come over. I made sure I caught you, and I just wanted to say thanks and shook your hand because I knew you would be the same way. You know, it was just I was everywhere and anywhere. I was chatting with anybody that would listen. That's all I did, and that made my day. That's what I wanted, like the interaction. And yeah, it was people I'd been friends with outside, and then people wanting to pick your brain. But yeah, it was great. I got to say hi for you for 30 seconds, John. So that was good.
We go do really big trade shows in Atlanta and stuff. And new guys with the company come in and they're like, what should I expect? I go, this is a performance, right? This is game day. You are here. All these people came not only from around the United States, they came from around the world. And when they come in this event, they wait literally in line 10 hours to get in these buildings, and they run. Like, people are literally beat up and trampled to get to the vendor they want to see first.
Yeah.
Our booth fills up to the point when I go to walk 2 minutes to the bathroom to pee, it takes me 15 minutes to get back in my booth. So my point is, we're going to stand and talk to every customer that comes in there for as long as they want to talk about whatever they want to talk about. And we're not done talking until they walk away. And when they walk away, then it's the next one, right? But that's what we're there for. We are there because they took the time to come to us. We're going to give them whatever it is that they wanted.
And we owe it to them. You
Absolutely.
know, because they're paying our bills 100%. Angry American was the same way. I said, you're so accessible. He says, why wouldn't I be? Because you literally, everybody buys my books, reads my books, and pays my bills. If I'm not accessible, I shouldn't be doing it. And you're right. Absolutely, John.
John's Rumble is SOE Tactical Gear, capital SOE Tactical Gear.
Yep.
And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, MeWe, Locals, Float, and TikTok. TikTok is the only thing. Well, my Instagram grows, 1,000 a week or so. But
wow.
My TikTok is literally doubling every month. TikTok is where it's at. Any hashtags that I use on Instagram, if I've got 1 million uses on a hashtag on Instagram, there's 4 million on TikTok. Do not overlook TikTok. Like, that is the force right now.
This is the guilty look on my face because I'm not using my TikTok.
Oh, I
gotta get my butt over
there. We all make excuses. There's only so many hours.
I don't have an excuse. I'm just admitting I haven't.
Oh no, I'm the same way. I was just going to say, I literally want to go and take 1 minute snippets out of my interviews and throw them up there, and I want to. I just haven't done it. No excuse, just haven't done it. That's all.
Yeah. We hired people. Like, I have dudes in house. Like, that I need to hire I need a video guy. I need another. I need a camera guy. I need another video guy, and I need a social media person. And we were having a conversation. A friend of mine just bought a $2.5 million house in Cabo as a second vacation home. And I say that to go along with, is society really as bad as they say? Because there's a lot of people doing really big things. Don't let it throttle you back. But I said, what should a social media person cost? And he said, that's $1,000 a week is what that looks like. And he hired that guy, not for any of his 7 companies. That dude is just following him around and doing his social media. But that's the number. Like, that's $1,000 a week job. I tell these kids that come in here all the time, I'm like, you are poised to have a license to steal. It used to be a pawn shop was a license to steal, but you can literally work from anywhere.
Which is awesome.
Low. I think they're worth more than that. Somebody that's willing to follow you around. Anyway, that's just me, but yeah, that's still a good starting wage. Don't get me wrong. You're absolutely
okay, Tim. When are you going to have your TikTok going? Let's do it.
Yes.
Accountability by June 1st. Can you do it by June 1st?
Honestly, my priority right now is to get up a monthly subscription kind of support program right now. That's number one. And
June 1st.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal. Okay. You can set a TikTok up in about 2 minutes.
Oh, I already have a TikTok. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So where do you populate first? I was always populating on Instagram because I could use a filter in my hashtags, copy paste to Facebook.
That's what
We're
I do.
in a battle between Instagram and TikTok right now. So if you post to Instagram first and then you go to post other places, it's not in your phone. It's not in the folder. So you need to post there first and then populate over, because what they want you to do is first populate to Instagram and then share from Instagram to these other platforms. The problem is, if Instagram locks you down, all of your shit has gone everywhere. You are better off for the long run posting on each of them individually.
All right, I'll do it. TikTok by June 1st. Check
June
up.
1st.
Yeah, I will.
What happens if we don't do it? Do I have to return this box?
But all you have to do
Did it show up? Sorry, John.
All you do is you put it together and you tag us all in it, and then we share it and we send our people to you.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Yep. No excuses. I'll
But
do it. I wanted to do it.
You're going to tag DeWalt and Milwaukee and that generator company you like, and people searching those hashtags, they're going to find you.
Fair enough.
Fast.
I'll do it. I got no excuse. I'm growing my brand like crazy, so I should be there. Doesn't make any sense.
Once you have 1,000 followers, you can go live.
Okay.
And then once you have 1,000 followers, you can do longer videos also. Like I did a video this morning that was longer, and it wouldn't even post up all the way on Instagram and Facebook, but it went all the way on TikTok. The other crazy shit is when I load to TikTok, it's maybe 60 seconds to load a 15-minute video.
Right.
When I load to Instagram, it takes 15 minutes to load a 15-minute video. Why? Why?
Oh, yeah. 30-day review says if you're doing TikTok, you might as well do YouTube as well. So, okay, I know we've been going way long. One thing I found when I started doing YouTube shorts was it fucked up my – sorry, yeah, I can say that, right? It fucked up my algorithms quite a bit. It really got everything out of whack for a while. So I might even start a YouTube Shorts channel. I'm not sure. Just an idea, just throwing it out there in case.
How did it mess it up?
Basically, anyway, everything runs on a plan, right? And all your numbers. So like I have a weekly video that everybody looks for. So it's that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all this stuff is showing up. So it's either filling up people's feed and it's pissing them off, and so they're walking away, or it makes my my views really high, but they haven't separated the analytics yet between the two. So when I did it at Christmas time, I committed to do it for an entire month. It worked on the short term, but I actually saw quite a bit of decrease in traffic for 2 or 3 months after. And I don't know if it was just because of that, but it was definitely a function of that for a bit.
You need vidIQ.
I've been playing with it just a little bit. I'll get into it more.
It's not expensive. They have a free version, but when you go into the paid plan, and I think for $99 a year, enormous difference.
Okay. For me, it's a matter of I will invest my time in the place that I get the biggest return in the shortest amount of time, right?
So with vidIQ, it puts a taskbar on there. And everything you look at on YouTube, if you go and look at other people's channels, it'll show you all the back end of how many people clicked it, when they clicked it. It'll give you all the breakdowns on your competition as well as your own stuff. All
right. I'm always willing to invest some money in it, especially if it can save me time long term, for sure. Yeah. And the return pays for itself.
And then, Jack always talked about fakespot.com, It analyzes the Amazon reviews, whether they're real or not, and gives it an actual ABCD rating. If you apply that taskbar onto your browser, that works all over the place. That fake spot, it works on eBay, it works everywhere.
I'll try that.
Anytime you go to buy, you'll be on some website you want to go buy something on, that fake spot will pop up and show you other options and the prices.
I got to get that for my wife, poor thing. He's always, anyway.
Yeah, I don't buy stuff on Facebook.
Or Instagram.
Speaking of scams, because it's like this unbelievably cheap whatever. Okay, it's unbelievably cheap, don't buy it.
Oh, they get me all the time with targeted marketing. I have tons of shit around here because of Instagram.
I bought a garden gnome that was supposed to be the clown from one of Rob Zombie's movies. He's giving you the finger, and it was a really good price. It showed up, and it was that big. Yep. That's what I get. That's a
Rob Zombie has a lot of things in his house that I have.
Really?
I have the real one.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I dug his movies. I liked a lot of his early stuff, especially. He's doing the Munsters,
I did not know that.
Yes, he's just about done principal photography on it. It's pretty cool. We'll see.
Cool.
We'll talk
Top Gun's out. Top Gun's out, and everybody says that it's absolutely awesome.
I heard that. It blows me away that a 40-year-old sequel can be that good. And because it's hard to find a good movie right now. I just went and watched Firestarter, and I was so disappointed. I'm a Stephen King fan. Yeah, but But
Well, Tom Cruise is a zombie. I mean, he'll be making movies in 200 years.
Scientology does that for you.
He's the head of Scientology, the absolute tippy top.
Oh crap! What's his name there? Dirty Mike Rowe just had a lady. She used to answer all his letters for him. She escaped Scientology. What an incredible interview that was!
Oh,
and
yeah.
Mike Rowe is doing amazing stuff.
Yes.
He's my I'm sure you've seen it. I keep reaching anyway, but I'm going to get him on my show. I keep saying it, and I've reached out a few times. I've tried some things. I'm going to keep going.
So we have a friend named Kelly, and she won one of his scholarships.
Okay.
He reads her letters pretty frequently. I've heard him read her stuff 4 or 5 times.
That's cool.
Pretty awesome. Yeah, I think she's going to be at the event here. Kelly Myers is her name.
Okay. I will. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
there's a second person who will be there who also is on one of his scholarships, interestingly enough.
Who is that? Who's the other one?
The Thomas, he lives near me, and
Awesome.
same thing. His dad always comes with him, so it's a father-son team. He's 19, and that kid is motivated to do some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, she comes from Green
I
Force.
probably should stop calling him a kid.
She comes from Green Force Tactical, the holster company, and she's with that family.
I've been randomly calling.
Awesome.
I've been looking up. So I'd like to have John Stossel on my show someday too, just for the hell of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I need to learn how to do this. So I look up his handler or whatever, and I just cold call, and they completely brush me off. But I'm like, okay, so what did I learn from this? And I'm going to try again, and that's what I do. You get kicked in the nuts, and you go try something a little different. And yeah.
You could also try to circumvent the gatekeeper and just communicate with them on live feeds and super chat, pay to put your stuff out there.
Yep. I've done that with a couple so far. And sometimes they're busy enough that it gets lost in the shuffle. Other times it works. So I just keep reaching out, and, I reached out to like 25 people in this last month, and only one turned me down. A couple didn't get back to me, but you just reach out. You'll find out, like Jesus. Yeah. Do you guys know the Casual Prepper podcast?
I don't know the name.
But they're like the second largest behind Jack. They're hilarious. Cam and Kobe are their names. I reached out to them, like, yeah, we'll come on your show. I'm like, really? Okay, cool. So they're going to come on, and we're going to, talk whatever they want to talk, movies and shoot the shit. They're hilarious. They'll be a lot of fun.
Right on.
Man Tracker. Do you remember the TV show Man Tracker?
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to come on too. He's an Albertan. I called him, and I'm like, why not? So you just reach out. You don't know who's going to.
I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I know where he's probably going.
We were going to end, but
yeah, I know what the hell's going. I know I gotta. Oh, but anyway, yeah. But it's fun. This is such a ride, eh, Nicole? It's
yeah.
cool.
I mean, that's the part. The whole purpose. I didn't know we were going to end up adding a weekly live to the world,
right
here, and then we started doing it, and people ask interesting questions, and there's something different every week. So I think the format is. It's casual, but you learn a lot from it too. You don't know what you're going to learn, including me accidentally playing the Macarena. I was pulling TikTok up to remind myself on this tab. Apparently, here's what we have learned about TikTok. It has that annoying thing, the automatic playing video with audio on it that messes you up in the middle of your live feeds.
Instagram's bad that way. So that box that showed up today, I know that you're on the keto bandwagon again.
Yeah,
so when you look in it,
keto.
It's all not keto. I'm really sorry.
I didn't think it would be.
Okay. And
I wasn't
awesome.
worried.
Alice put it all together. She had it half put together before we got back from Tennessee.
That's hilarious.
She went through and made a whole list. Oh, you'll love it. It's cool.
Yeah, I didn't know. It's like my reward to see what's in that box. It's a mystery box. So
Becky and I kept checking it. It's been sitting. Oh yeah. Go ahead and tell him.
Something I traded. I don't even know what I traded for. Oh, coffee. I traded Tim coffee for this mystery box.
Awesome.
It arrived.
It's full of Canadian goodness, all kinds of random Canadian goodness. You'll love it. And yeah, Alice was so excited because she looked up what can't you get in the US, and she's 12. She put a whole thing together. We went and shopped. She was excited. It was in customs for like a week in LA. I don't know how. Anyway, whatever.
No, well, they didn't open it, so
good. So that's good. We put on what it was because I figured if not, they open it and they'll take everything. So
yeah. It's Canadian snacks, John. That's what it is. So I'm sure it's 100% keto and on plan and all of that.
We just had a viewer customer, guy on from Greece sent me a bag of just a mailer full of spices and small bottles of booze, and I was amazed that came through customs.
The booze, yeah. We got, what was it, Nicole? That was in your grab bags? Was it dried tea or something.
No, it was freeze-dried smoked green hatch chilies.
Yeah, I'm like
Hatch
I'm
green
going
chili.
to try to take that through customs. Because anyway, I'm sure they would have known what it was, but oh my God, you give them a reason and they just start digging and tearing. And we brought back some cans of Mountain Dew Cooler for my son. 2 of them exploded in the oh yeah, so everything smelled like this gross fruity Mountain Dew. Oh yeah, it was pretty funny. But
Yeah,
it was good.
yeah. I used to come back with bottles of wine from and booze from Germany when I come back from there, and then they changed what you could carry on the plane, right? Because I just carried on, and so I resorted to all of these like crazy packing techniques as you started having to check that stuff under. And one time I came in with a case of wine. And you get your declaration and you say, I have a case of wine. And you're supposed to pay tariff on that. And I get to customs and I hand them, I declared it. And he just goes, didn't make me pay anything. He didn't want to deal with the paperwork, I guess.
There was a guy that came up to me at LFTN. He said, I just wanted to say thank you for everything you did. And he brought me it was a 40-ounce bottle of bourbon to take back with me. That blew me away. I was like, holy shit, like that was awesome. And so
we like our bourbon here.
Oh, I like my bourbon now too. I have for a while. And so I lovingly wrapped it all in really nice. Then we get to the airport and they're like, oh, you can buy. So I bought a bottle of Tennessee or Jack Daniel's cinnamon just to try it. And they freaking wrapped that whole thing in like 2-inch bubble wrap. They put it in a hermetically sealed bag so you can carry it on the plane. I'm like, cool. Okay. But I'm still only allowed 2 40-ounces, one for me, one for Becky before I have to start paying taxes on them. So. Because our taxes are high up here on liquor, but that's a story for another day.
Youch. That's a reason to live near the border.
Yes, it is. Yeah, they used to do that, especially when pre 9/11. They used to my wife lived in an area where there was a bridge, and if you just drove halfway across and went back, you could buy it all from the duty-free shop. But they've changed the rules on that. They used to do a beer run, and they'd just go halfway across the bridge, do a U-turn, go back, and then they could buy all the tax-free beer they wanted.
See, loopholes, guys, loopholes.
Oh, I know. State jiu-jitsu, right? We all know that.
All right. Well, it's probably about time for us to wrap up. I would guess.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got to get back at it.
We got to get you back on here soon, though. This was a fun shot.
I love it. You guys are easy to talk to, and we have like minds, so I enjoy it every time. And I learn every time I talk to you, so it's great. Bourbon plus one.
All right.
Hey, Tom L., thank you for the order, man. He said he finally got one of our shirts before it sold out.
Nice.
Yeah. You got to get on that, man. This shirt's pretty cool, though.
How big do your shirts come, John? I know we're done talking, but
5X.
Oh, that's plenty big for me. Okay. I'm a big dude. How you slice it?
We do 120 pieces. We typically take delivery of them on Monday. We show them on live feed. So if you're on the live feed, you kind of see it and know what to search for on the website.
Yep.
And those guys get it. And then we really don't put it out or promote it until Thursday's email and text. Sometimes Amanda will blast a text out, though.
Cool.
Yeah. Text alerts help. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining in, and we'll be back next Wednesday. Yeah, next Wednesday. Another live feed, different guest. Really appreciate everybody dropping in. We've moved them from Tuesday to Wednesday because there was a scheduling conflict, and we will keep the first Tuesday on Tuesday. But other than that, it's going to start being Wednesday at 12:30. Thanks for joining in, everybody.
Thanks, guys.